Hello everyone, welcome back to another commentary. I'm Captain Logan, here's Adam Meredith and Brandon Grimm.
Hey!
And Brandon, what are we watching today, buddy?
Star Trek Nemesis!
Brandon's very excited about Nemesis, or he's pretending like he is.
Yeah, pretending.
So as I always ask you guys before we get started, first of all, the very last TNG movie, we were finally going to be at the end of the TNG movies, which is exciting because 3 of the 4 of them are not that great.
Which was disappointing when it came out, and I wanted this awesome epic to be, just great. It's an even-numbered Star Trek.
I thought it was going to be a good one.
Especially if it's going to be your last movie.
Right.
But there was all that talk about it might be, it might not be, and so when it kind of sucked, there was the hope that they would come back, but then no reason to expect that given that it was so floppy.
Right.
I remember reading an interview with Patrick Stewart before this movie came out, and he was so excited because it was an even-numbered Star Trek film. He thought it was great. They had all this cool stuff in it, and he was going on and on about this thing that they really hadn't told us about, which ended up being that dune buggy.
Yeah, he just wouldn't stop talking about it. He was so excited because, of course, it's in Picard's character to just want to off-road all the time.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, what? Are we serious here?
Yeah, he goes. If you look at the behind-the-scenes footage, you'll see Patrick Stewart talking about how he likes to drive. He goes, "I really like driving. I really like driving."
I read that.
And John Logan gave me this great gift
of
the space dune buggy, and he doesn't strike me as the type. I was so surprised when I heard that.
Top Gear and stuff.
Was he really?
He drove or their little
awesome.
obstacle course and stuff. Yeah.
As I always ask you guys before we get started, when was the last time you saw this?
15 years ago.
Wow!
It was probably just a
he walked out of the theater and he never thought about it again.
Experience.
No, I watched it.
I've seen it at least one more time.
You were probably at the Star Trek Club meeting where we showed it.
Oh, maybe that may be okay. Well, then I'll point to that as the definitive.
But that was in 2009.
I saw this movie
then more recently. It's that memorable.
When I saw this, it was probably a week or so after it came out. And I mean, it was a matinee showing, but me and my dad were the only people in the movie theater, and then one guy shows up like 15 minutes into the movie, like he wandered in the wrong theater.
He's probably watching some other movie that wasn't very good. And then he went to Nemesis. Did he stay?
He stayed.
Or did he leave that theater and try to go find a better movie?
I was like, oh god. Nobody's coming to this. This is not good.
Yeah, it was a problem.
I'm pretty sure
that left and went to Daredevil. That was later. That was a few months later.
I'm pretty sure that interview that I read was in Star Trek the magazine at the time.
What interview were we talking about?
The Picard interview.
Oh, I see.
Where he's talking about the thing. Sorry, I went back a minute because I wanted to.
That's
mention
cool.
the
It's just
magazine.
everything you mentioned is stuff that he said in the behind-the-scenes footage, like on the DVD. But anyway, so we're gonna watch Nemesis. It's been a long time since I saw this too. I actually sat all the way through it. This is one of those things that I have at this
sit
point.
all the way through it. I didn't sign up for that. No, just kidding.
Well, you can leave anytime you want to. As long as one of you has to stay all the way, or we can tag team it. We can take shifts.
Yeah, I'll take a break.
But it's funny that this is the movie we're talking about taking shifts for because it's bad. It's not boring.
No, it's true.
Like Insurrection, we needed to take shifts so that somebody could take a nap. Same thing with motion picture.
Felt way longer than it was.
Yeah,
when I think
this
back about
will not have that problem. I think this will actually kind of be lightning fast because we'll have so many things to make fun of, and this will just be. I mean, we all should have worn Riddler suits to this commentary because it's just going to be a whole bunch of riddle me this Batman. What is going on here? And what is going on here? And I don't understand this scene.
Is this the only place we hear of Thalaron radiation?
Yeah, it's made up for this movie.
So why is that so memorable about this movie? The radiation they use in the...
I think it's just because I latched onto it and asked that question in Star Trek Club like 35 times. And that's probably the only reason.
It's like, I was like, I don't remember that.
I don't know.
Too close to the source to be able to differentiate.
It's a good 3-syllable radiation. Like
it sounds cool.
You want to have a few when you're doing Star Trek trivia. You want to have a few things in the back of your mind. So like types of radiation and like different kinds of particles and I don't know. Thalaron just always stuck with me for whatever reason.
That stuff in Star Trek is a lot of times green. for whatever reason.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
This
Well,
radiation,
this movie is
4
very
cubes.
green, and this movie also
Yeah.
has X's all over it. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that too. Is everybody ready?
X's.
I was gonna,
X's
I
constantly
was just gonna say
everywhere.
the
As ready
impression
as
I
I'll
got.
ever be.
I remember seeing the trailer for this, and this
Yeah.
was back when Lord of the Rings and everything was huge. And
Right.
I thought, like with the opening like scene before.
Yeah,
they
this is the
showed
same
everything-
year as the second Lord of the Rings, is it
Yeah,
not?
yeah, it
Wow.
came out the same week. That's one of the reasons why it flopped.
Yeah, it was up against,
Two
and I think
Towers,
there was a
yeah.
Harry
Good
Potter that it was up
Lord.
against
Harry
as
Potter
well.
too, yeah. And James Bond I think came out also, like Die Another Day.
Yeah,
I think.
that one wasn't super popular, but it did better than
Yeah.
this
I did see Die Another Day in the theater.
But so I see
Forgot
the
about that.
trailer, and I thought, just like because it shows like this opening shot of Romulus, and I thought it's just like, oh, it's just like some generic fantasy movie or sci-fi movie. So like, probably at least 15 or 10 until they show Patrick. I was like, oh. It's Star Trek.
It's a bad sign when Adam isn't recognizing Romulus. That's a problem. Okay, well, we'll get into all of it. This introduction is too long already. Let's get started. If you want to watch it with us, and we suggest that you do that, get out your DVD or Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. Once again, don't know where this is streaming. We don't have regular streaming Star Trek movies right now. There's probably some place.
I think it's
but
on Hulu right now, or
Is it?
and Prime, both. I think
By the time it
both
gets
have
posted,
them,
it might not
right.
be anywhere. Who knows?
Right.
And get past all the menus, get timestamp 0, get ready to press play. When I say now, is everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Everybody into the pool. Everybody please press play. Right now! So I want to do that irritating, obnoxious thing that everybody always does when they want to compliment a bad movie. Score is great. This movie has a really good soundtrack. I like it a lot. I've listened to it apart from the movie. I used it in a high school film that I made right after this came out. Love the score.
I have not gone back to the score. I should do that with some more of these other Star Treks.
And Adam, mention what you told us before we started tonight about the score.
Oh, Jerry Goldsmith. This is his last score before he died.
Oh.
I didn't realize that. This movie has the distinction of having the weirdest freaking logo.
Oh my God! Then why is the R backwards?
I don't know.
Why is it back? And then doesn't wait. Just
Yeah, and then that comes down.
yes.
And then to make like a spear-looking thing, and then
Oh,
no, it's gonna
goodness.
become
I don't know.
Nemesis.
This looks like
warp,
it
and
looks
I
like
guess
warp explosions.
it looks like some like
And with
early
the backward-
2000s
Yeah,
band
backwards
logo.
E.
They have a
like
backwards E.
It looks like
M&M.
it looks
We
like
got
some
M&M
early
right there.
2000s like Incubus or something like their band logo or something like that. I don't know.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it just screams we're trying to be hipper than we
Yeah.
are. And that's a mistake because there's some fear you can tell, especially reading behind-the-scenes interviews in the 50-year mission, that the folks working on this are terrified that Star Trek is no longer relevant and that people are not interested in the property anymore. I blame Berman, like I do for so many things. I don't blame Berman by himself, but I blame the direction we went with Star Trek in general because you got to remember that not only is the only thing on right now Enterprise. So keep in mind that this is significantly the last 24th century thing we get up until Picard will come out in January. But you also only had before that, for 2 years before that running, a Star Trek show that was not especially popular anymore.
Right.
You had Voyager
the final
for 2 years
two
after
seasons
that.
of Voyager,
Or for
and
2
that
years
was
before
it.
that. That was
Exactly.
it, yeah. And so Star Trek was not at that big peak popularity not too long before, and it feels like a million years between, say, 1998 when it was still pretty popular, and really when Insurrection kind of helped to kill it. I would argue, and then the end of DS9.
Right, the end of DS9, and then
So you hear or you read, Berman in the 50-year mission talking about this like he is trying to crack the code. How come this movie wasn't popular? Like we thought we had this really cool, exciting movie on our hands. It was this big send-off for the TNG crew. How come it wasn't even if people didn't like it, how come people didn't come out opening weekend? And as you mentioned earlier, part of that was because of movies it opened against.
Right.
But it's not rocket science. Everyone hated Insurrection.
Right.
They didn't like your last movie, and they're not excited about the stuff you have on TV right now. You're not even calling the show you have Star Trek.
Right.
There's no mystery here.
Yeah.
Right.
You had to work a lot harder to get people to want to go see this.
Of course. So here's the first we see of this device. We see a bigger one later.
Yeah, it's foreshadowing. There's this really tiny version of it,
Yeah.
and we get much bit right. What is with the Thaleron DNA strand? Like,
I have no idea.
Why does
Kinda
it look
Mobius
like that?
strips on itself, like.
whoosh, and then everybody, the Senate just
I
looks up
remember
at it like,
thinking this is
that's so
kinda
pretty!
cool. Yeah.
And then we're all going to turn into rocks.
It's kind of interesting that we get this big to-do with Romulus here that we never really saw a lot of, and then they just kill everybody.
Well, it's to make a big deal out of how scary your bad guy is, and he's going to take over the Senate, and so, like, how badass is our villain in this? The first thing he does is murder the Senate of a bad guy race that we've never done a movie about, that we've always wanted to see, and he's going to take him over.
Mm-hmm.
This is very TOS. I like this idea, just visually. It's fun. It looks fine. It would have been more impressive if somehow we could have done the shatter without cutting.
Right.
Sure.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Alas. And then we're going to have this really weird fade to... Oh, okay. Well, first of all, duty has nothing to do with anything we just watched. Like, you'd think that making a big deal out of this first word Picard's going to say duty, like it would somehow transition thematically or idea-wise from the scene we just saw. Nope! This movie is cut really weird, and a lot of its problems have everything to do with how it's edited, and this is one of those many movies that I would like to know all the stuff that was on the cutting room floor, because we got deleted scenes, but we know there had to have been a whole bunch more.
It's
That would've been
loosen up,
interesting.
Picard. He's gonna roast him at the wedding here a little bit.
Okay, so I got a bone to pick with you saying that, and this is a pet peeve of mine with this movie. I've really gotta talk about this. It's not the wedding.
Oh,
It's
that's
not,
right.
and it drives me insane. The people who made it say it's the wedding, and it's not.
That's right.
We know it's
This is a
not.
ceremony.
I guess we do everything backwards with Betazoids because they're having this.
It's a rehearsal dinner.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, it doesn't look like a rehearsal dinner. It looks like the party you'd have after the wedding, right? It looks like the reception.
I saw this movie. I didn't even know Wesley was in this movie. That's how little he's over there in the corner.
Yeah, he's in the corner.
But I didn't even realize it.
Well, he had dialogue and they cut it out. He had a whole scene, and they didn't put it on
Where
the deleted
are
scenes.
they? This is like look at this background. It looks like the
They're in some
J.C.
sort of
Penney
tent.
catalog or J.C. Penney portrait studio.
No, it's
thing.
weird, and I don't know if we're on the holodeck. I don't know if they dressed up 10 forward to look
They're
like
on a
this.
mountain.
No, they're in
They're
mountains.
on They're on
Mountainous.
Denali. He's from Alaska. They're on to.
Okay, they're not though, because we know they're on the ship right now.
Oh, that's right.
They're on the
They're on
ship.
They're in the holodeck.
This is just a
Or
holiday?
they've somehow redressed 10 forward, but they're gonna walk out of here onto the bridge.
Oh, maybe oh, really?
Or there's
remember that.
or
It's in
there's
the
a
mountain range
or there's a
back
cut,
there.
and the assumption is supposed to be that they
beamed up?
actually were somewhere else. I don't know. This is cut so poorly. I actually am second guessing a thing I always assumed, which is that they're on the ship
Stuart
right now.
Barrett is supposedly.
It makes a lot more sense if they're
Makes
not
sense,
on
yeah.
the ship. Oh, we'll talk about Stuart Barrett. We'll talk about that crazy person. As a director, Stuart Barrett's
Look
one of
at
the
those
greatest
cool
editors of all
symbols.
time. Space symbols. I don't know why we need space symbols.
They're just plastic
They're
discs.
plastic
Yeah,
discs.
and then-
but they sound like. That's what they probably
Yeah.
sound
I don't know why
like.
they would resonate like that. Okay, so there's Guinan's cameo. She's got a cool looking dress there. I like that. Worf is going to say the Romulan ale is illegal. It's not illegal anymore. They did not pay attention to a DS9
It
episode.
should be
The
illegal.
war,
Yeah, and then
Geordi
Geordi says it is, and
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
not, according to 7th season DS9. So very, very recently, we have made it not illegal because of the Dominion War.
They bought all these tables and everything. This all is just like stock stuff.
Really?
Like that looks like something from like that you'd see outside of on a patio at an office or something.
It
like
does,
that.
or
Yeah.
like they just went to a hotel or something.
Yeah.
And I'm cheap, so I'm gonna sing.
This is when we indulge in all the cast members' fantasy.
Yeah, and I would accept it more if this movie wasn't so bleak for no reason.
No.
And if it ended with more of a great send-off for the crew. Or not even... The ending isn't even the problem as much as just leaving all of the moments on the cutting room floor that we apparently had with
Right.
the characters. Maybe they all sucked, but we don't get any time with anybody besides Picard and Data.
They probably all sucked.
So
They probably did.
They were probably all like the library scene in Nemesis.
Okay, so we cut to the ship.
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess the assumption is probably that they were on a planet, but here's the thing. Where were they all? Why didn't they do that on Betazoid or on Beta Z? Because we're going to talk about how Worf doesn't want to appear naked at a wedding, which strikes me as wildly out of character. I don't feel like he would have any problem with that.
Maybe that was a rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, but you see why there's no reason to assume that they weren't on the ship?
Yeah.
We didn't see a planet?
No, it's true.
We're just watching
So now
people
they're
come
not
onto
even-
the...
They're not even explaining why Worf is back.
No, they don't even bother with it. He's just there.
He's just there.
And remember,
For the
he
wedding.
was supposed to have a big job after DS9. He was supposed to be a Klingon diplomat.
So they rented out the Enterprise, basically. Lend it to Picard to take the whole wedding party to Beta.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, so everyone remembers
For the
this.
finest food in Starfleet.
Everyone remembers this as that was the wedding, and A, it's a Betazoid
Right.
wedding.
Right.
So they would be naked. B, I've heard people even complain, well, how come Lexana Troy wasn't there? Well, yeah, it's
They're
even
not
weird
going
at a rehearsal dinner that she wouldn't be
Yeah,
there,
she would be.
but also, it's not the wedding.
Right.
Isn't that weird? That is the most washed out Picard's face has ever
Everything
been.
is
Look at that.
blue now.
Yeah.
Like all the controls are blue in the last movie, and the one before that they were like more pink and
Could have been weird
tan.
worse. They could have made it all green like everything else in this movie.
I still dig the graphics from Next Generation. They're just so futuristic even today. The
Yeah,
graphical
TNG
interface.
had the best designs
Yeah.
Oh,
for the
absolutely.
graphics.
The Okudas are rock
we
stars
did,
in that area.
yes, they are. Although we did some nice updates in Voyager. I mean, I like
Yeah.
all of Voyager
I like
stuff.
these
Just the
Space Nine look
Elcars
good
in
too.
general.
No, it does.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the stuff that I'm impressed with in DS9 is Cardassian and Bajorn in
Right,
Origin,
that's true,
right?
too.
Like,
Right.
True, yeah,
they
Cardassian a
did
lot.
continue to add stuff to Starfleet, but the first couple of years they're pretty much just using what they had laying around from TNG.
Right,
So you have
exactly.
to give Voyager credit. Not that it
Right.
matters because we're talking about the same people
Right.
making
Right.
both shows. But for the Starfleet stuff, we're building a lot more on Voyager.
They did.
When we're looking at new stuff for
did.
DS9,
They did.
right? Like if you didn't have the design of Voyager, you wouldn't have the Defiant the way it is.
Right.
Right.
For a minute, the topography that they were looking at on that planet looked like an old painting or something. It looked like Jesus or something. It was weird.
He says there are 6 positronic signatures, but I thought it was his brain that was positronic. So they're
Yeah.
obviously talking about the different parts of B4
Yes.
at this point. None of those other parts should have positronic
And
signatures.
Brandon has now pointed out the first of many just really stupid, dumb things that they don't want you to think about at all, and how this is going to be a ridiculous video game plot.
B4 has a decentralized neural net that runs through his whole body.
They should
maybe.
try the Argo.
He can even think
Oh,
in his
that's what it's
feet,
called.
Brandon.
That's right.
Oh.
His feet can walk on their own.
Captain's prerogative.
His
Yeah,
arms-
it's a call back to your generations there.
Huh.
And that's just dumb
A little bit.
because there's
He's
no
trying to emasculate him and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. There's no precedent for it. There's nothing
Plus,
that's ever
there's
told us that.
people today that do that, so it's not that big. You know,
It's not a
there are
big
people
deal.
think-
Yeah.
Sure, but my assumption was always that it was a Betazoid thing. But there's
Right.
no precedent for that.
Right, exactly.
I'm not saying they can't add some lore, but it's kind of weird that we've never heard of that before. Like, where did the Troy name
I
come
don't know.
from?
I think he was just joshing him. I don't know.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks
So,
really bad.
This
Here's the,
oversaturation
why is it
in the
all
colors
weird
is
colors?
obnoxious.
This
Yeah.
is the space drone because they fly by remote control later.
So, especially when you know what's happening, this movie has very little rewatch value, because we're gonna waste a bunch of time. Yeah,
Pre-warp
here's our
civilization. We're
space-
gonna bust out the
Doom buggy.
Doom buggy.
So this is a
Um,
real thing that you could just buy.
Yeah.
They put the Argo name on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not futuristic
It's
at
not
all.
futuristic at all.
You can just go get it. He just looks like he's playing Mario Kart right now.
So excited.
He just had a ton of fun. I can't blame him for having fun driving the thing in the desert, right?
But what I was going to say is we're wasting a ton of time because we're pretending like there's this big mystery plot where we're going to go find all these pieces of this Soong-type android, and then we're going to find out that Shinzon just put all the pieces there for them to drive around and find for no reason. Like, if he was going to use that to lure them in, and there's questions about that too, why didn't he just put it in one piece? Why
did he do this? Scavenger hunt.
And I'm going to get this out of the way right now. How do we never mention lore? At all.
Exactly.
How do we never mention
Data
lore?
should be more intrigued about this new Soong-type android they're about to
Not just
encounter.
intrigued. They should be concerned when they first find the head that it might be lore.
It might be lore, exactly.
I don't just mean that he's not referenced. I mean, they should be concerned that they might have found lore. There's no scan that would immediately tell you which Soong-type android it was.
Exactly.
I guess the only reason why they wouldn't be concerned is because they kept his body after
it moves independently.
descent.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
It must have
okay.
positronic
Well,
in its...
maybe that's not fair then.
Yeah.
I thought the body got lost again.
No, I think they had
I
it.
hate Descent, so I don't go back to it much. But yeah,
There's no reason for that to be twitching like that.
that's a really good point. Why?
Ooh.
You mean a positronic arm, Data?
Yeah,
positronic
those fingers
arm.
are thinking right now, Brandon.
Positronic finger.
Boy, that's a
It
terrific
was
point
like
you
one of
made,
those.
Brandon.
One of those
I've never
Halloween
thought of that
props
before. Positronic signals.
This looks really
Yeah.
That's
bad.
so dumb.
I
There should be
didn't
one
realize-
positronic signal.
Coming from the
I
head.
didn't realize how much this.
Why are we all washed out in these?
Yeah,
scenes?
washed
yeah,
out.
we were talking about that earlier. It's so silly.
It's trying to make it look like an
His face.
alien atmosphere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're trying to act like it must be
there's a
300 degrees on this
And a
planet.
torso. Like, this is definitely lore.
That's just
You
a
gotta
mannequin.
be like, this is
they
lore.
just put some crap on a mannequin there.
Picard.
Look at that.
That's so generic. This doesn't feel right. Yeah, because it's weird that
Yeah,
you just
you-
have all these robot parts
You've
everywhere.
never found a
I don't
robot
even
disassembled
remember
like this.
Why he does this?
And they're acting like cartoon characters, like it's not even occurring to them that they're putting a body together. That's what it feels
Right.
like.
He just dumped it in the bin.
Oh, there's the head.
There's the head. Why wouldn't they have buried the head? The pre-warp
that cool
civilization
shot
could
and
come
then
upon
run.
this.
Well, it's because Shinzon is sicking them on this really silly scavenger hunt where he's just going to leave everything out in the open and hope that the birds don't get to anything before Picard does. It's so goofy.
The metal-eating bird.
Oh, he should be saying it's lore.
And the thing, yeah, they're acting like this is the first time this has ever happened.
Oh,
And I guess everything's just on because Shinzon left it on.
I guess, but
I
no,
guess how does
he
it
would be
work by
off.
itself?
Like, he gets detached and he's off, right?
because we don't even know. But we don't really know what powers Data. They never ever said. Did
We
they?
know
they're
that he
using
has an
traditional
off switch.
guns.
Yeah.
They're
How
using
does Data
traditional
get power?
weaponry.
So
Does he ever? We never see Data recharge. What does he run on?
I don't know. Double A's.
I think it's covered, but I don't remember what it is.
Maybe it's mentioned someplace.
He has like self-recharging batteries, and they talk about how that's supposed
So
to
he's
work.
a perpetual motion machine.
Okay,
Basically.
so I'm going to ask you guys, and this will continue to happen over and over again. You guys are going to get really bored with this. I'm going to ask you guys two questions you cannot answer, okay?
Okay.
The first question is, why are they being attacked right now? Oh, three
I don't
questions.
know.
The second question is, how do these people have dune buggies that look suspiciously like the one we're driving around in?
Yeah.
And how come they landed on the only planet we've ever seen in Star Trek with these kind of land vehicles when they're driving one? And the
Yeah.
third
Yeah.
question is, and this is the biggest one, pay real close attention when we finally see their faces. Is this the indigenous race of this planet, or are these Remans? You
Right.
can't answer it. You can't tell me. No
Right.
one knows.
Well, they're supposedly pre-warped, so...
No. We know that there is a race on this planet that is pre-warp.
That's
What
what
I'm
I'm
saying
saying.
is, I don't know what these people are.
I know, and what makes
Because
it
when
more
we
ambiguous...
see
I
them,
thought they were
what makes it
Shinzon's
more
minions
ambiguous
always,
is that
but they're not.
using pre-warp
Just
technology.
random.
We don't know. Because they sort of look like... Well, yeah, but... Well, you say pre-warp. They apparently built this after warp. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we know that the race that lives on this planet is pre-warp. We don't know
Right.
what these people are.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it
Right.
makes it more ambiguous that they're using pre-warp style technology, so it's impossible.
Are you just talking
to
about the
tell.
machine guns?
No,
You're
I'm talking
talking
about the
about the
machine guns
truck.
and the trucks.
Yeah, but again, that's very much like what
Like
we're
the
driving around, and we're
Starfleet
pretending,
thing.
we're
Yeah,
pretending
just-
like it's, and then
here you
this
go.
this is a
But
red letter
maybe they
media
brought
point. This is a red letter media point, but why in the world would you have a flying vehicle that existed just to have
To catch
to
that
carry a not flyable vehicle? It's dumb.
I really
Exactly.
feel like he would have smashed a lot more.
Why not
than
just
that.
build a
He
thing?
was going so fast.
Why not build a thing that did both? Okay, look at them. I don't know what these are. They're probably not Remans, but they look like they could be
What is
Remans.
that? I don't
You
know.
don't even need a vehicle that does both because as long as you're flying, you just fly.
Yeah. Well, there are reasons to have ground vehicles, right? Like you could be in
Yeah.
a situation where there's like a storm and you really need to get around someplace, but it's
okay.
too the storm's too violent, so it's too dangerous to fly.
Right.
Ryan,
They should have more ground vehicles in Star Trek.
like
but this was gratuitous.
like think about it. If we had flying cars in our society right now, there would be weather where you wouldn't want it to fly. You would
Right.
just drive it.
Data seemed
We
far
should
too
never have flying
robotic
cars,
in that scene.
by the way. It's
Right.
a terrible
It's a terrible
idea.
idea.
People could barely drive.
Oh, hi, Joey. I forgot you existed. Famously, the director of this movie, because he doesn't know anything about Star Trek, he doesn't know these actors, and they gave him the last Star Trek film that was supposed to be the big send-off to a guy that knows nothing about this stuff, famously called LeVar Burton Laverne
Laverne.
constantly,
It's like,
and pissed him off.
Laverne.
It made
Laverne,
him
what are you
very
doing?
angry.
Please fix his vocoder.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
Got that mannequin back there again. Got to put back together.
Also, we didn't talk about this
Because
when they
that's a
were
good
in the
idea.
Argo. It's amazing that they had that console in between that perfectly fit B4's head.
Yeah,
Right.
the head and then the torso got tossed in a bin, and that was pretty funny.
It was almost like it was built specifically just to carry robot parts.
Yeah.
I remember thinking in the theater even that this
Oh,
was
he's got all his pads.
this was odd. Yeah, we gotta do that again.
There you go.
I remember thinking this was odd because obviously, we've dealt with this situation before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Obviously, because we're not talking about the fact that there were other Sun-type androids.
Oh, there you go.
There's Janeway, but it's also weird because we're treating it like a situation we've never seen in Star Trek before, and they're treating it like this, and even in the soundtrack, like it's this like really mysterious thing, and you're just like, yeah, look, Brent Spiner's playing multiple roles again. Cool. There's one shot with that we're gonna see here in a little bit that's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Reman. I've never heard of them before. That wasn't a thing. Now, how do you feel about the Reman thing? How do you feel about the fact that we took Remus and we decided to put a race on it?
Yeah, I think that's like that's. So are they a race, right? They're
Yes.
not okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not Romulans.
Okay.
They were a race that developed independently that the Romulans enslaved.
Okay.
Is supposed to be the idea. And I guess for a long time nobody knew they were there because they were in like the dark side of the planet or whatever.
Stupid.
But I
that
think
was
it's
a
weird.
callback to the Sona.
I think it's weird. Yeah, a really obligatory one. We're like, remember that?
Nobody cares. Why
Remember
did
that
you bring
last
that up?
movie that happened? Yeah, it's stupid.
You get all the easy
He looked like
signs.
he was writing on his pad there with a real pen.
And
That guy's gonna die.
that cameo
He's gonna die.
that cameo strikes me as so just like again obvious and obligatory. Just to make everybody freak out. Oh my God, we get to see Janeway one more
Yeah.
time. It's like, yeah, she's got a desk job because everybody's afraid she's going to go out and murder people.
So earlier in this movie, we had a little bit of a kind of a cool reveal of the ship, but we didn't really see the whole thing. I think they would have done well to show us the actual whole thing on the big screen.
I mean, it's the third movie that uses it.
I know, but it's still cool every time we get to see it again. You know,
They
just
should-
as the
They
it
showed a
comes into
close.
frame.
They showed a close up of the buttons there.
Yeah, I mean, they show the underside of it, which is fine. Like, I kind of appreciate that we're not making a big giant deal
Really?
out of you know just because we have a movie. But, like
You think
every
they would-
single time we have the ship, we have to spend like 5 minutes on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think this is the original Windows left over from Next Generation?
yes,
It looks like it to
yes,
me.
I
Kinda
do.
does, yeah.
Yeah, there's no way around it. So the Remans feel like I don't have a problem with the race, with the idea that would exist, or even that the Romulans would like enslave them or use them as shock troops in the Dominion War and all that. Like that's fine. It's just I wish somehow they had been mentioned before. You know, because it feels really retroactive. They will appear in one more place. We will see them as Romulan slaves in Enterprise in season 4.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And that was kind of a nice nod.
Yeah.
So this is the coolest shot in the movie.
Yeah. This is pretty good.
I honestly cannot tell you exactly how this is done. I mean, it's a really cool shot, and I had never seen anything quite like it before. It's kind of nice.
Motion control looks good.
Obviously, yeah.
The face. Yeah.
This strikes me as the kind of thing you couldn't have done pre The Matrix, and we're only in 2002. So I mean, like they're using pretty state-of-the-art technology right now to make that shot happen.
Right.
That's cool, and that's part of why I said it would have been nice if they could have done that visual effect earlier without the cut when the Romulan guy falls down and crashes. Because if you can do that, you could do that shot.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If you could do that shot, you would you could have done a shot where you didn't have to cut.
Maybe
True.
they ran out of money.
That was the last visual effect they did. the opening scene.
We blew our whole budget on this.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's cool.
Well, that was weird.
That was
Data's
too
little
fast.
things close.
And I
like
love
that.
stuff like that that's like
They didn't
subtly
used to.
cool, where if you're not thinking about it, you're just watching a scene, but like it'll occur to you when you realize, oh yeah, that's right, Brent Spiner's playing both of these characters. This is a hard shot to do.
Right.
I love stuff like that. I'm trying to give this movie credit where it's due, because it's only going to happen like 4 or 5 times, where I'll have really positive things to say.
Right.
Because it's just not a good movie. I don't know, man. I want to like the moodiness of it. It just comes from a crappy video game plot and a villain that has no motivation.
Right. Well, how long are we, so we're like, when do we start this? How many minutes is this?
So
movie
we're
going?
already half an hour in.
And we haven't met the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're probably thinking that keeping him in the background, we're like building to it, but we don't, and that there's tension there, but we don't even, up until a couple of minutes ago, we didn't even know that there was a singular, bad guy behind this. I mean, he was sold all over the advertising, so we did know that. But I mean, just in the movie, we didn't know that.
Right.
Like Brandon said earlier, I was really excited for this movie before it came out. I thought it had every potential to be great.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember I was excited too, I think.
I thought the
With the exception of
Picard
the trailer.
I thought the Picard clone idea was potentially cool, but I was also leery of it because I thought it was potentially really fanficky, and then I saw it, and it is.
Mm-hmm. Just sitting there.
This is, interestingly enough, Tom Hardy's first big screen role.
That's right.
He got his start in Star Trek.
Well, and may I mention too that like I always loved him in this, despite the fact that the character on the page doesn't make any sense. But I just liked him a lot.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think he's miscast, but I like him a lot.
Right.
I just can't see him as a younger Picard. It just doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
Compute in my brain at all.
Right.
But when see, you don't have to spell that out.
We know that from 7 seasons.
You've only been a
of
diplomat for
TNG.
15 years, buddy.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us that.
We knew that already. That line's for people who've never seen Star Trek.
He didn't say shoot it. He said raise shield.
No, you know why he had to do that? No, there's a reason he had to do that.
Okay.
He had to remind everybody that he is a diplomat because he's been a crappy action hero for 3 movies. And he's
Oh,
been
yeah,
punching
at this
everything he
point.
sees. We haven't seen him do
Yeah.
diplomacy since season 7 TNG.
He wore a hat in Insurrection.
I saw some...
That was all off screen
We
practically.
were talking about X's earlier. I saw some X's in the background.
So
of
many
the,
X's. And I don't know why. It's Star Trek 10 if you count them all together. And that's the only thing I've ever been able to
it's
figure
X-Men.
out is
But
like
he's doing it so I want to make a call to it, maybe.
They're making-
I
call
don't
it
think it
Charles
has.
Xavier.
I don't even know. I don't even know if they did it on purpose. I think it was just part of the set design. That is Ron Perlman completely
Yeah.
wasted.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what the
I
heck
didn't
he's
realize
doing in
it was
this
Ron Perlman
movie.
until I saw the credits.
That's
Wow.
Ron Perlman as the Viceroy.
I didn't
and
realize
his name
that.
is the Viceroy. And it doesn't matter that he's Ron Perlman.
I have to
and
mention-
his job is going to be to help the bad guy do mind rapes and to beat the crap out of Riker. That's his whole job. What would you call it? That's what it is. That's what it is.
He's
And
away team to transporter room 4 and half the crew.
and they're ripping off a mediocre TNG episode in doing that. It's not even
know.
new. Violations. The Yulians. We've done this already.
They beam over. It could be a complete
You
trap.
know, when they...
Yeah.
they-
Yeah.
Captain
Well,
Picard, they make a mention
yeah.
earlier, someone who will never let me go on an away mission, and here he is, front and center, on an away mission.
Well, it's
Okay,
just diplomacy
So,
meeting.
big compliment for this movie, number 3. I love this set. I love it. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
I like the moodiness of the scene. I don't mind some of Stuart Baird's directing, like his choices of camera placement and stuff like that. And I don't mind, real dark TNG movie if it's earned. It
Right.
just isn't.
I was gonna say, when that thing decloaked, Worf said, "Raging shield," and he immediately shot him down. I'm like, it's not like he said shoot it. They had to do another callback to yet another time when Worf is shot down and his suggestions.
Yeah, his suggestions like, no, don't do it.
He's like, God, I'm just going to go back and do that really important, prestigious job that I was given at the end of DS9.
There's like a 10-minute clip on YouTube
Yeah,
of Worf getting shot down.
Shot down, right.
Yeah. They always treat him like he gets shot down all the time and he gets his ass handed to
I
him
know,
all
and he
the
has
time.
the right answers a lot of the time, too.
Yeah. Okay, so here's why the silhouette thing doesn't work. When he gets illuminated, we do everything we can to try to get into Picard's head and make it like he's got a sense of recognition. None of it works.
No.
Like, if you're not already familiar with the premise of this movie walking in from reading, early material, you behind the scenes, what they're doing with this movie,
bald guy.
you're just gonna be like, okay, so he was a poorly illuminated bald man,
Right.
Yeah.
and now he's a very illuminated bald man,
Yeah.
and Picard is kind of freaked out by him.
Yeah, I didn't read I wasn't really a big reader of the internet.
Also,
At the
we're
time.
you know what? Forget what I said about Stuart Baird because he's not lighting this very well.
No.
Like sometimes he's like left very much in the dark, and sometimes you can see his whole face. Doing the illumination thing is not going to make any sense because we've already pretty well seen his face.
Right.
A lot of attempts at suspense and tension in this that are just not quite working.
Yeah. He's in the
They
darkness.
come in
and he
peace.
wants
You look like a, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
not
it's a Mars
foreshadowing or
attack.
boding.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is. I'm ready for him to just pull out
dagger.
like a Mars Attacks gun and go. "Rah, rah, rah."
Yeah.
Am I right?
You know, if you're going to be a clone of Picard, maybe you might try sounding like Picard.
Well, yeah. I mean, they sound like they were raised in two completely different areas of Europe.
Well, yeah, and granted, he was raised in a different area, but so completely different that he should sound nothing like.
No, so completely different that I don't know why he has a British accent at all.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a thing. Oh my God! It's oh my God! It's a bad guy wearing
like I'm looking
a
in
rainbow
the
suit.
mirror.
Ah! Sorry, what?
Well, what's bad about this is that we've seen Picard as a young
What's a
man.
hypersensitive?
And they could have done something better with getting someone that looked like what we
I
had as
feel like
Picard
they
as a
should have
young man
mentioned this a
already.
long time ago about Picard having this.
Yeah, I know how
supposedly.
exactly how much of this stuff is really retroactive.
Yeah.
And why does Picard have so many health problems?
And why is this guy bald when he's young?
No, I know that's it.
That-
Because the
that's
audience,
Data.
because they think the audience is stupid. We
Yeah.
know the answer. We
I
know
don't
the
think
answer to
Data
that.
should be clued in on that he looks like Picard. I don't think Data should be able to recognize that.
The reason they're doing that is they're trying to create a suspension of disbelief for the audience. So here's the thing. Berman and other people that worked on this movie talk in the 50-year mission about how they knew he didn't look anything like Patrick Stewart, but they liked his acting so much that they were just going to do everything they could to make it work.
Okay.
And so that is this scene screaming at you, the audience, he looks like Picard.
That he looks like Picard.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be so bad because if it was just like this and this now, because you could say, oh, he's trying to goad Picard. So he made it, he shaved his head to make himself look like Picard. But then they show the freaking picture later.
Well, it's the picture, but it's not just that. It's also the fact that there's this stupid recognition from Picard. The way they should play it is he doesn't look anything like Picard.
Right.
It's because he was raised by Remans and he had a really hard life. I like the jagged teeth.
Yeah.
I like that he doesn't have good teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the theater knife there with the blood
it's great.
coming out of it?
Yeah, straight out of it. You can see the little bead.
The corn
Hands
syrup
don't
and
like
food
that.
coloring.
A lot of people like to make fun of the rainbow suit. Just the way the light hits it. It creates all these different colors.
It's supposed to be
I
some sort of
kinda like
bluing
it.
on metal.
It is silly in the context of this movie, I think only because it's taking itself so seriously and it's not warranted and it's not a good movie. But just as a bad guy, I kind of like it.
Oh, that's
There's a
futuristic.
plastic
Look at that
syringe.
pipette.
A dropper.
And a
Do you remember the
microscope.
huge theater poster that I used to have of Shinzon?
Yes.
Do you remember where it was?
No, I
I
don't.
used to have Shinzon on my ceiling.
Oh,
It used to cover my entire ceiling. This huge Shinzon.
You're in this movie. I forgot.
And it took up too much space, so I gave it away in Star Trek Club.
Did they make a new sickbay set? Because it doesn't look anything like the sickbay from First Contact, which
Yeah,
is the Voyager sickbay.
They must have. Yeah, this
Handycam.
this is the
That was
Enterprise
weird.
E refit.
Why was all of a sudden there like a handy cam of him walking and then a stationary cam of him walking away?
You know, yeah, forget any positive things I said about the directing with this movie. Yeah, just forget it. Shinzon, you look like I feel right now, man.
Look, is that Ron Perlman, or is that just the? They could literally
No,
have a
that's Ron
mannequin wearing. No, I mean, but you could. It doesn't
You're
matter.
right.
because
They
you
could
could-
just they could just replace it with a big puppet
yeah.
in scenes where he's not doing anything,
Yeah.
and we wouldn't be like, oh, he's not moving because he just stands
Save
there.
money that way.
That's
So
hilarious.
their coats remind me of like tile, granite tile mosaics.
They look like
Well-
a bathroom.
I know. I'm just saying they
well,
do.
well, sure, Brandon, but that
I know.
goes back to TNG.
I know it does, but I'm just mentioning it here.
And I mean, like, they're updated. They're not the same uniforms they have
Right.
in TNG. And they will look worse.
They do look.
Like, TNG had some cool Romulan uniforms. Okay, so this is an actress I like a lot.
She dies in
Uh,
everything she's in.
She's one. That's not true. She's one. Can you think of her name right off?
Dina Meyer.
There it is. Oh, I hate myself for not thinking of it. She is Barbara Gordon, Oracle in the Birds of Prey TV show, and she's just brilliant. And that is not as great of a show as it could have been. It's better than Smallville. Overall. But it was only on for 13 episodes. But
remember that
she was a perfect Barbara Gordon. She is awesome.
She was in Starship
And
Troopers.
that show was on. That I want to say for season. Okay, this is gonna be really funny. That show, I believe, was on the same year that this movie came out, which would mean that it was already canceled by the time this movie came out.
Oh boy.
I think that's right. I think it was 02. It might have been 03. I'm pretty sure it was 02. Maybe it was 03. I'm second guessing that right now.
Oh.
Wow, that's kind of sexist. That's kind of racist. You ever seen a man be that sexist and racist at the exact same time?
Well,
It's
they're gonna have
amazing.
to mind rape here in a few minutes.
That's true. That's gonna happen. Look, it sounds like a really harsh way to put it, but it's what happens.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I'm not gonna candy coat it. I can't think of a
forgot.
better word. It's a mind rape. And then the whole like you're not a woman, you're a Romulan. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know that he's ever met women because I can't tell that Remans have women. I think they might all be male.
Yeah.
We don't see a female Reman,
They
so who
reproduce
knows?
by
He's studied.
By what?
Fission. They're like asexual.
They're
bacteria.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
see, there's two of them now. That was one earlier.
Well,
And
yeah,
now
but look, there's
they split into two.
Here's the thing. they do it just standing there, and they can even
Another
do it
one.
with their uniforms too.
Yeah.
They can just, okay, so there's a way you can always tell that the Praetor is the Praetor. Okay,
Okay.
it's because he has that stupid staff he carries around.
There he is.
See, that's what's supposed to clue you in. See, they don't have that stupid
Yeah,
staff.
staff. I got the stick.
You mean the
I got
Viceroy?
the stick.
Shinzon's
Yeah,
the Praetor.
I meant the Viceroy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to. I'm not a headcanon guy, but I want to add Adam's notion of asexual reproduction for the Remans in my headcanon. That is in my mind now how the Remans reproduce, and there's nothing to contradict it because you never see a female Reman.
Once again, he's lit all weird.
It's so strange.
He's
And-
gold.
And I appreciate trying to separate this movie from the other ones and give
There's a
it a
Voyager chair.
different kind of atmosphere.
That's a chair they got left over from Voyager.
And a lot of this stuff we would forgive and maybe wouldn't even notice if we were engaged and compelled, right? Like,
Right.
you know, if we were immersed in the story of this
Matrix.
The
movie.
Matrix.
But what ends up happening is you start to pick up on or get irritated by stuff like that because you don't have anything to latch onto, right? So you're constantly thinking about all the stupid blemishes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this is more than blemishes. I realize that.
Uh-huh.
Like from the very beginning, when we go down to that planet, I'm gonna be like, okay, this is very washed out. But if the script is great, I'd be like, okay, that was a stupid way to film that, but at least
Right.
the movie's good, you know.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now he's gonna explain his motivations, and they're gonna sort of make sense.
Right.
And then he's gonna go constantly against everything he says here, the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's the big bad.
Yeah, he wants to destroy
He's the
Earth
boss level.
for some reason. Like
Oh, now they're explaining the
the
difference
thing-
in the...
the thing that he
Look.
wanted to accomplish, he's already accomplished. Like
Wait,
his,
why did they beat him up?
Yeah, he's taking
he
over
says-
Romulus.
they beat him up because he was human, and they didn't like that, so they
were
beat him up.
xenophobes.
Right. Well, to be fair, the Romulans would be raised to hate
Yeah.
Starfleet, you know.
Mhm.
So, but okay, so this is probably the best place to mention this. I don't know why those windows are stained glass.
He lives in Neville Sinclair from the Rocketeer's house.
That's
That's what it
hilarious.
looks like.
That is what that looks like. No, there should be a sword fight on this set. That's true. But anyway, no, this is probably the best place to point this out. This ends up, like I said earlier, feeling like kind of a fanficky idea where like the
Yeah.
Romulans are going to clone Picard and they're going to put the clone in into society and try to make everybody think that it's actually Picard, and he's going to probably murder Picard and take over. Here's the thing, though. That sounds like an interesting movie.
What, the lithium mines?
Right.
No. The background
Oh,
of
yeah.
what the clone would be doing.
Yes,
Right.
Just make that movie. Just make the movie where the clone dispatches of Picard
They
in
did
some way
that.
without actually killing him.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
And then-
season
and then-
1 Star Trek Discovery.
Say it again.
The season 1 Star Trek Discovery.
Well, yeah, but this is way
Lord-
before that. And
I thought they did that, but it wasn't that good.
that's not true either, though. It's similar only in that there's a version of that character. But what I mean is, this sounds like a thing the Romulans would do.
True.
This sounds like a
is
Romulan plot.
idea.
It's a good
It's
good
duplicitous.
deceptive Romulan
Exactly.
kind of notion, right? And they've done it before, or they
Right.
not the clone thing, but like Mind's Eye,
True.
where like they reprogram Geordi and then they send him back to his people. Like this is not an un-Romulan idea,
Right.
thing to do.
Right.
And I would have enjoyed that movie potentially.
Sure.
Can I just
The
say...
whole like this guy, I don't know, this is also convoluted, this background of like he gets thrown with the Remans because their whole plan didn't work out, and like he should be dead.
Yeah,
There's
he
no
should be
reason
dead. Why
this
didn't they
person should be
kill him?
alive.
Yeah.
And we have no idea how he rose to ranks at all. We don't know how he built the scimitar. We don't know anything.
Yeah, that's what.
Like
yeah.
it's preposterous. Anyway, what's up?
So he just said in that little flashback, he made mention of this one man took pity on him, and he's talking about the Viceroy.
Yeah.
How can he call the Viceroy a man, but he won't call the Romulan commander a woman?
Because
He
he's
doesn't
just
like
trying to get
Romulans.
in her head.
Yeah.
He's just being all
Okay.
psychological manipulation. That's all that is. Dude, you don't have to go and nitpicky things like that. There's plenty of stupid crap in this movie to complain
Hey, I just
about.
picked up on the nit there. Your people, you should have been on Earth.
So, the one very Star Trek idea that this movie latches onto and tries really hard to drive home but doesn't make a great story out of is the question of the kind of like predestination versus free will question. The like, is it how much of who you are is genetic and how much of it is experience,
Right.
and would is Shinzon exactly what Picard would be if he'd gone through the same experiences?
Right.
And you like that's where you can kind of sympathize with Shinzon, because like he went through a lot of really horrible things that Picard cannot begin to understand, that he never had to deal with. But it at the end of the day, it kind of comes off like just okay, well, Picard, if you'd gone through these things, you would have just turned into a crazy person.
Right.
You'd just be an insane psychopath, and that's not that interesting. And it would be cool if it was more of a question, because the movie kind of just comes down on, and it feels sort of cynical in a way. Like, it kind of comes down on just, yes, Shinzon has a choice if he were to understand Picard's perspective and not be a psychotic lunatic, but it really kind of seems to come down at the end as, yeah, Picard would be this crazy person if he'd gone through the things that he went through.
Well, they do make that correlation, though. With there's a line later in the movie where he says, I'm what you would be if you had lived this, and Picard's like, yeah, but the reverse is true. Like, you could be me if you lived this. Like, you could have done that.
Yeah, that's true. And that's him. Yeah, that's the hologram scene. And that's an okay scene.
That's the best line in the movie.
It is, yeah, but the problem with it is, it's not compelling because he doesn't end up really appealing to any part of Shinzon's sensibilities,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Like it doesn't get through to him, and so he just seems like a monster.
And
the fact that I don't know why he's doing anything he's doing, because he's already
no motivation.
Like what I was going to say earlier, he's already achieved the whole thing he was trying to achieve. He already
Killed the Romulans.
yeah, he's running Romulus, and he already.
But I don't understand how killing the whole Romulan Senate.
It's because he's got the scimitar aimed at everybody, and I guess it's more powerful than anything on that planet. Is the best I can come up with.
All the
I don't know.
Romulan warbirds that exist that we've
But then
seen.
when it leaves, why don't the Romulans just take their planet back over, and then when he comes back, they just fire everything at the scimitar.
Right.
That's what I would do. But they just go, nah, it's cool. We'll let this guy take us over. And I think they're probably trying to do like a cool Roman parallel thing, where it's like, remember at the end of the Roman Empire when it was falling apart, like all the different emperors that came in and out and kept getting assassinated.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to do that.
Maybe.
But we don't get enough background and context about why the Romulan government is not functioning right now.
Right.
And so it really does look like a guy just walks in and says, I'm in charge now, and they all go, okay, sure.
She can't overstate the danger of a theoretical substance.
That's an ugly sick bay. That's ugly.
Well, yeah, if it theoretically does what you think it's doing, what it would do, then that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's
bad. Geordi just happened to be reviewing the sensor logs and found this spike in the band right when it decloaked. Like,
well, he's got nothing better to do.
Yeah,
okay?
why would you be reviewing all these sensor logs from like hours ago?
Has nothing better to do. But the other thing I wanted to say about all that is there's one major event, maybe two, that Picard's had in his life where he might be able to appeal to Shinzon on some level and say, I too, a tiny degree understand what you've gone through, and they could find some common ground, right? One of them is, everybody say it with me, becoming Locutus.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
And the other one is chain of command.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he's been
The
tortured.
man's at least been tortured.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're good point.
Why doesn't he talk about that
Yeah, no
stuff?
kidding. Yeah, those would have been better callbacks than the freaking...
So, this is here because they think the audience is stupid.
Yeah. Not
And
quite the face you remember.
we know that Picard was not bald when he was at the Academy. This is just a blatant, dumb retcon.
So they had a uniform that was probably 20 years old at this point that they made Tom Hardy put on.
That's true.
Seasoning.
Yeah, he was bland, you know.
Yeah,
So
we
they
had a
to
wonderful
give
episode
him some
about
salt
all
Oh, is that
and
the
pepper.
Picard album?
Yeah.
Is that the album from Generation?
Oh, is
Is it
it
a Resican blue box?
Yes, because he's going to pick... Well, in a deleted scene, he picks it up at the end.
Oh, yeah. What is that archaeological rabbit?
Monkey thing?
Looks like a rabbit, like a...
I don't know. In Generations, he didn't care about the Kurlum Neskar
Yeah, I
anymore. He
know.
just threw that
Right,
thing
yeah.
away. But that thing...
The fact that you know what that's called is great.
Yeah.
Okay, can I complain about that?
About
Can
what?
I complain about something that's gonna sound really stupid?
Yes.
I think they forgot to put some modulation on Data's voice there to make it sound like it was coming through the comm system, because it did not sound like it was coming through the room.
Yeah.
It was a little bit echoey. It sounded like he was just yelling through a vent. Hey, Captain Picard!
This is the PG-13 rating, right?
We got important things to talk about. This is them going, look, aren't we cool? We have continuity from our last movie to this movie.
Yeah.
In
Talking about
Insurrection,
the honeymoon,
we
they
put
didn't
these
get married
characters
yet.
back together for no reason. Yeah, I know. I don't think the movie knows if they're married or not.
It doesn't.
Maybe they too.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Some steamy soft focus right here.
Yeah,
This is a
and not
really
only
messed
that,
up
it's going to
scene.
get really uncomfortable
This
when
is a-
suddenly the Viceroy
This
shows
is a
up.
really
It is
messed up scene.
from his perspective. Do
This
you
is
remember this
so-
whole thing?
I
This is
don't
so messed
remember.
up.
This is where the mind rape
This
thing
is so
happened.
messed up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
my
God.
goodness.
And this happens for no reason. This is essentially
He said inside.
this is another like attempt at just making up something weird and creepy in order to try to move
Right.
the story forward, even though I don't even know what
Oh
this
my
is supposed to be
God.
doing exactly.
Holy crap.
But this is your stand-in for that thing in Generations where we kidnap Geordi and then we send him back to the
Right.
ship, and then the
This is so weird.
and then the Duras sisters are looking through his visor.
Yeah.
It's that again,
Right.
only uncomfortable.
This is uncomfortable too.
that was
was a
very
weird
uncomfortable. Some bond.
He still holds
If I-
his hands like that.
If I were Riker, I don't think I would be comfortable trying to be intimate with my wife for like months after that.
Right. It's not his wife yet, though.
Is it dumb? The movie doesn't know that.
Oh man, we're having fun with this one tonight, aren't we?
Okay, I never thought of this before. Someone asked the question.
Okay.
Games.
Is it weird or silly or whatever that Shinzon is basically wearing the exact same outfit that all of the Remans are wearing?
He's
Or
a
should
Reman.
he be? I mean, like, he's sort of acting like he's a Reman, I guess. Like,
Well, he
in-
considers the Remans his people. So, I mean, I think it follows. It may not work, but it follows.
There's all the green.
Yeah, more green.
well, here's the thing. I get it being made out of the same material and stuff. I just would have made like a slightly different or more of a different outfit
He
out
would
of
have
it.
been maybe
you know?
like he's the
He
head
just
of everybody.
He sort of
you
looks
know,
like he's
it
just
would've
walking
been.
around wearing the same thing they're wearing.
He
Like,
went to the same clothier, man.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is he's made himself the praetor of the Romulan Empire,
Yeah, he should have
and
a
he's gonna
better
wear what
wardrobe.
all the lowly Remans are wearing. Like, he
Hey,
doesn't have to
maybe
wear
he's one of the
Romulan
people.
garb,
Maybe
but
he's one of the people.
he's not though. Because he's
No.
and also he doesn't care about
See, that's
his
genetic.
guards because he'll just start killing them for no good
That's
reason.
true.
That's genetic. Liking
the handheld
Earl Grey
poker
tea
game.
apparently is
Oh,
genetic.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
He ordered tea. Hot.
yeah.
Dr. Crusher checked you out, so let's
You're
go back
good.
to the room.
Get out of here.
Can you describe it?
I
Don't
think
pay
it would
your
have been
copay.
really funny if Shinzon showed up and the only thing he and Picard had in common is they knew how to play Domjad.
Play dumb
We just
duck.
and they just had a scene where they play Domjad.
Oh my.
Would have been great.
This is really aggressive.
Can I tell you what, Picard? If you win, I won't blow up Earth. And if I win, I'll blow up Earth.
I just had a traumatic experience. I'm the counselor, so I have no one to go to, and you're not going to let me relieve my duties. Oh boy.
Good job. Probably should have their shields up, see? Worf was right.
What's this? I told you so. That's
They
great.
just have some instant later wearing a shirt that says Worf was right.
He's in the agony booth.
Okay, that is genuinely hilarious. The Reman wearing the doctor's clothes.
Why is
Dr.
B4
Remans?
there? He
Dr.
should know. He
Remans.
should wonder why B4 is there.
I just think the surgeon Romulans are hilarious.
White lab coats.
Oh. It's a big needle.
Has
No.
double meaning, but they never talk about the fact that he's been Borg. Why would he
Yeah,
know about the Borg?
and again, the only reason he brings that up is, well, you couldn't live in the quadrant and not know about the Borg.
I guess not.
But
That's true.
but it's weird.
But they
All right,
don't
sorry.
attack humans.
We just do stuff like that to go. Yeah, we know something about Star Trek. Yeah.
Right.
So he's just gonna give us a whole bunch of really boring
Info
exposition
dump.
to explain what he's doing, even though I don't understand why he's doing anything.
He just goes and stands there, like at a corridor, just like looking at a wall.
So, B4 is irritating for lots of reasons, but one of them is when you get to the end, he is essentially our Genesis device, right? B4 is there in case we want to make another one and we want an easy out to bring Data back, and it's so obvious they're doing exactly Wrath of Khan. It's really annoying. Like, and it gets worse because after this, we're also going to continue with Abrams to not be able to get away from Wrath of Khan.
Right.
And we've had this problem before. This movie has it in spades. It's the worst. Like, interviews with the director and people when this movie came out, people kept talking about how John Logan kept talking about how we wanted Picard to have a Khan. And everybody liked that one, right? So we and they kept saying we don't want to make the same movie, but they did, right?
Yeah.
They just made a really bad version of Wrath of Khan because not only is there this big kind of revenge plot where he doesn't really have any reason to get revenge on Picard. He's got this whole like my life is meaningless while you're still alive. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what he's talking about. But also, we even do the subplot where at the end of your Wrath of Khan remake, you have to kill off a beloved character. It's gotta be the stoic, doesn't really have human emotions character, just like Spock, and he's gotta leave his Contra someplace.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same thing. It's the same movie.
You're right.
But at least they didn't use Triple Blood.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, yes, we now have
Magic
dumber
blood.
things to compare it to, which is amazing, and shouldn't be possible.
Okay, that was that line we were talking about. A mirror for you as well.
Not for the.
He didn't appeal to his senses early enough.
Well, yeah, but later on they're going to have a whole conversation about it.
True.
Which again is a decent conversation.
Is it right before Shinzon dies?
This movie does no. It's in the it's before they ram the ship. It's in the ready room when he comes in as a hologram. That's why I said earlier it's the hologram scene. That's what I thought you were talking about. That's that whole scene.
That's it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I guess that's foreshadowing of that scene.
I wouldn't call it foreshadowing. I would say that it's establishing the thematic ideas they'll talk about later.
Okay.
It's a continuation of a conversation before it's foreshadowing. I do think Brent Spiner does a good job of playing Data pretending to be the other character he's playing. Like,
Vulcan neck pinch.
there's this nice subtle thing he's doing in his performance where he's making fun of the thing he's been doing as before. That's pretty good.
How did he get aboard this ship?
He pretended to be before the whole time, I guess.
Well, yeah,
but
they, like, figured out what
brought
it was.
they put the transponder
Yeah.
on
Data.
On Data, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
he knew it was there, and again,
All the
does that
rules.
remind anybody
Yeah.
of Wrath of Khan?
Exactly.
It's the same thing,
I
you guys.
know.
This movie is a remake of Wrath of Khan.
Oh, nice.
Emergency transport.
This thing right there will decompile your entire molecular structure in 2 seconds flat.
And it
it's
makes
this
great
small.
julienne fries.
It's this small.
I don't understand.
What was all that?
I don't understand why we're not using those all the time after this. Although we don't get anything after this, so
Yeah,
maybe we are. I don't know.
Maybe we will.
He's digging his knife into that
No.
console.
Okay, we get the intergalactic transporter. So
Oh.
again, we get something stupider.
We get something way stupider. And in 45 minutes in our reboot, right?
Not only that, but it's in the past.
Yep. Well, yeah, but it's in the
Yeah.
past and in alternate
In
reality.
alternate reality, yes.
'Cause it
yes.
can't be the
Caveat,
same, yeah.
Caveat.
Man, I can't think of how cheap this movie looks compared to 09 Star Trek.
It's true.
It's kind of sad. That
And
they didn't
it's-
give them any money.
It's too ambitious as an action movie because it looks like it's on television,
Right.
and it's also really sad that like
Yeah.
after First Contact, you would try to appeal to the fans that really liked First Contact in doing a darker Star Trek and doing a big action movie,
Right.
and it just doesn't even come close to the same production values. But some of that is because you just needed to tell a more understated, like, more character-driven story, right?
Right.
Yeah, see, he doesn't care about his people, Brandon.
Kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a hypocrite.
You defied me.
Why did he do that? Kill him. Why did-
Okay. Why is it
Look,
the
it's the same reason
noise?
I kill Brandon every time he comes over, okay?
Why is it the same noise that appears on a Federation starship? It's like a...
Was
That's
it?
a good question. No, this noise, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's same noise as on a Federation
That-
starship.
That's true. Starting with First Contact and into Voyager, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's an excellent point you're making. Or maybe starting with Voyager, I forget. I don't know where we hear that sound first, but that's a really good
Yeah,
point.
it's definitely not a Reman thing. Toss me your
Okay.
phaser rifle.
So you guys, like, we're just watching a Saturday
Yeah,
morning
they
cartoon
should do
right
some
now.
John Woo thing here where Picard does slow motion.
Data doesn't know where to go. He should have analyzed
You've
on the
got-
fly.
First of all, you've got, like, phaser fire everywhere
X.
where nobody's going to get hit. We're going to
X.
see, like, 6 billion shots, and,
Right.
like, it doesn't hit anybody except
See,
for the Reman.
that's a John Woo thing.
X.
Yeah, I know. There's X's everywhere.
Should lock him out by now. X is denied permanently.
We could have been sitting here this whole time pointing out all the X's. There's, like, I counted it at
X.
one point. There's, like, 150. There's a lot of X's.
X. X.
Why would the Reman language be that complicated? They wouldn't have time to build culture. It just doesn't even make any sense.
No. I like how I like how Shinzon says that the Remans are bred for war, but they're slaves.
I also well, yes, they're slaves bred for war.
See what he was
Yeah,
doing
but
there?
I just like I think that's interesting.
That was like one of
But
those puzzles in
They
Star
don't get it to do enough.
What he was doing there was like one of those puzzles in Star Trek Elite Force. Do you have to
Yes!
solve? Do
It
you like,
is.
reroute the conduit? Remember those
But yeah,
days?
the other thing I was gonna say is,
Oh yeah, you're gonna weld that
you-
bulkhead shut.
you've got that really stupid hack writing thing of we've got a prototype
Right.
and we only have one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And so at the end of the movie, so they think it's cool setup and payoff.
Mm-hmm.
We should know, even if you've never seen this movie before,
That's
as soon
really
as you
bad
see that
CGI.
that prototype of the one person transporter,
Uh-huh.
the site to site personal transporter, that somebody's going to use that at the end and somebody else is going to sacrifice themselves. Like, you have to know that.
Right.
It's like, as soon as you introduce that in a movie, it's obvious where you're going with that.
This thing.
So
that
Data
they're
could
in-
barely decode how to get
I
inside the
couldn't tell.
door.
So
There's
that's
another X.
not very good CGI there. But then they showed it like them getting in it, and it didn't look that good.
Didn't look that good
as a
either.
real prop.
But
So I
really
can't tell what's-
inconsistent.
Yeah.
Data could barely open the door. Now they're flying this thing.
They made the Christmas ornament out of this. I don't know why.
They did, didn't they? And it doesn't look like a Star Trek thing.
No, it looks really generic. Are they just gonna go through a bunch of guys?
They're
Like-
still shooting at that door like it's gonna do something. This is exactly what you
Once
want to
again,
do, is blow a hole in a
this score is
thing and-
thrilling, man.
There's just slow motion.
Oh, Goldsmith took this movie way more seriously than I did, and it helps it a lot.
You always want to blow holes inside your ship while it's in space.
Okay, I like that Picard doesn't know how to fly this thing. That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that he's just slamming it and everything. It's not just because it's big. Like, he doesn't know how to drive it.
Yeah.
And he's just ramming it in his stuff.
It's
That's
a callback to a piece of the action.
Oh.
I don't know.
It's probably not, but it does. Yeah, but I wouldn't have even thought of that.
That should have explosively decompressed that section. Just saying.
Okay.
You
That's
blew
wow.
out that window.
When you said earlier that you were interested in the whole bred for war idea, I've always been interested in Tom Hardy's amusing choice of line delivery
No.
when he says, "We're a race bred for war." It's the best, and that is the first glimpse you'll get of Tom Hardy's like very eclectic, like bizarre acting choices for things. Like if you go back and watch Nemesis, you won't be quite as surprised by Venom. It's still really odd what he's doing there, but you won't be quite as surprised by it.
He should...
Race breath for war!
I'm getting a little bit of Bane in some of this, too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. No, a lot of counterintuitive choices from him, but, like, so distinct and unlike anything you've ever seen before. Like, you can't deny the man's screen presence. And I'm obviously not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying, like, it's bizarre, some of the choices that should not work, that he'll make with things that kind of do, or at least make a bad movie less bad or more fun to watch.
Wait, are these guys bad or good? They're like the traitor Romulans? Is that what they are? I can't remember.
Yeah, so the whole thing is, it's just her.
Okay.
Subcommander Oracle, Subcommander What's-Her-Face.
Yeah.
She will come back at the end and help out
He
Picard.
helps the Enterprise,
Yeah.
right. Why are they helping him? What's their motivation?
Also, he looks like he's on the verge of death.
Yeah.
Like,
he got some of that. He got a bit of that.
It's
that
like...
Theleron.
Yeah, or, right. It'd be really funny if he was walking around, he had a stone hand. Just walking around. I gotta be really careful not to smash this into anything or it's just gonna explode. Because I'm pretty sure...
Up, Beverly. Just making things...
So, like, does she leave and then Shinzon shows up in his ready room, or is that even later than this? I can't remember.
What? So, why are the Romulans helping Shinzon?
Because he's the Praetor. Because he runs the government now.
I get, but they helped him to kill all the Romulan Senate. There was a Romulan in there.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that whole thing. Hold on. The answer to your question is intrigue.
No, but Picard finds out that he's actually this evil villain, finds out he's dying, then wants to save him. Why didn't he just let him die?
Because he's him.
He's him.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And so he sympathizes with him because he has his DNA, and they want to make it like a father-son thing,
They should
sort
listen
of.
to James Kirk. Let them die.
They're not Klingons.
They should still be talking about lore.
Look, Brandon, the answer to any logical question within this movie is always going to be you're thinking about it more than they did.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
This is a different model, so maybe there's ways
Yeah,
to turn
the
him on
tap was back
differently.
or somewhere like in his
Yeah,
back. Or
he doesn't have a
something,
switch in his back that makes him
Okay, so-
convulse like lore on the
yes.
ground.
So I think the answer to your query is all 6 of his pieces have their own off switch, and then Sung went, "That's dumb.
Yeah.
I'll just have one." I guess.
Why?
So deprogram him.
Yeah, and also, why is he having a conversation with... And obviously, we haven't talked about this, but, like, the evil twin thing with Data and before is supposed to parallel Picard and Shinzon, and the whole idea is supposed to be that, like, one of them, their evil twin, doesn't want to better himself, and that's what makes the original better than the other one. Mm-hmm. And, again, it's a fine idea on paper, and it sounds like a Star Trek thing, but it just doesn't end up resonating.
Nope.
And there's no good reason that Data should even be having this conversation with him, because he doesn't understand what he's saying, and he's essentially an automaton. He's not even... Everybody talks about before like he's a 5-year-old child. He's not, though, because he doesn't have the ability to change or grow like Data did.
No.
So he's just an automaton.
Right. Oh.
And the only thing that could give him that ability later, potentially, is when Data puts his contract. Exactly. Yep.
What? So this John Logan guy.
Yes.
What was it? What has
His
he
big
done
claim to fame
this?
before this is Gladiator, which of course won an Oscar. I believe.
Yeah, I did.
And he's written a lot of stuff since this, and he's written good stuff, but this was not a good script.
So Theleron radiation can expand almost without limit. That should mean that even releasing a tiny amount would destroy the planet.
So are you saying it's red matter, Brandon?
I'm saying that when they destroyed the Romulan High Command, they should have destroyed... It should have technically destroyed everything.
Yep. But they're changing the properties on the fly, just like they're changing Shinzon's motivations on the fly.
Which also means that they don't need the bigger machine at the end of this movie.
No. No, that's going to be overkill, just like that giant thing of red matter that Spock takes place back to the past. I don't know why you need that much.
You wouldn't need that much.
So it's going to be really fun when we go to 09 to talk about all the things that it seems like it ripped off from this crappy Star Trek movie that nobody went and saw.
Giant Romulan spaceship and a guy that talk like this.
And red matter
one.
and Thalaron radiation,
Yeah.
which I'd never even thought about before, but Brandon's right about that.
Yeah.
And a bad guy who wants revenge for not a good enough reason and does not seem to really have motivations, even though we pretend like he's oh so sympathetic.
Did this movie have good rental sales?
I don't know. I think the answer to all of this is just hack writers, man.
See, there's that noise again. They just had it on soundstage. They're like, yeah, nobody's gonna notice this alarm sound.
And you know what? As lazy as some of that stuff is, none of it is as bad as the end of Insurrection, where we had
the warp core is a force field on it.
Yeah. That's
Isn't
not a
is it
bad
bad as
idea.
what?
having a blue screen that you don't actually fill in.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah.
And I'd never noticed that till you pointed it out. You know, since we got Worf back on here, I would have appreciated Chief O'Brien.
Is this movie almost over?
Well, they
I
got
feel
into
like
that whole ramming thing. We're not. Yeah, the thing is, it feels like we're
I
in
feel
the
like
third
it's
act.
short, but it also feels long.
Yeah. Well,
At
here's
the
what's
same
weird about it.
time.
We've still got another 40 minutes left.
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like, we're sort of pseudo into the third act.
Huh.
The structure of this movie is weird. I would make the argument that it feels like it's in 2 acts before it's in 3.
Mhm.
I've never had that thought before, but I think I'm right about it.
So why is he dying?
He's dying because he has. He's dying because he's a failed clone.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't activate the temporal aging sequence.
The thing that
Yes.
the thing that Beverly was talking about. That
Yes,
was, like,
the thing
he's
that was
making
supposed to make him
stuff up.
older to catch up with Picard, they didn't
Yes.
activate it. So I guess that means they were sending his genes through time to age while he's in time,
Who knows?
without like dephasing out of time or something.
Well, the Romulans do. I mean, I doubt it. I think it was just accelerating aging.
Why would you
I
call
mean,
it temporal? You know.
Did they say that? Did
Yes,
they
it's
say temporal?
called temporal.
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
dumb.
they called it
Yeah.
temporal RNA.
Okay, that's
Yes.
preposterous.
They did.
And I'm glad that you noticed it and pointed it out because it's BS and ridiculous. But
This
there
looks
is,
less
of course,
cool than the Generation from. I'm just gonna say that.
that's true. But it's using the
And
exact same graphics.
It's less cool
Yeah.
than the Voyager.
the Voyager room.
Yeah.
Well,
To be
part
fair,
of
though, they had to build that out in space.
And I feel so. Some of this I don't like is because they're using a bunch of rear projection
Uh-huh.
in this movie instead of putting
Blue screen?
blue screening in the graphics.
Are they?
Look at that. That's rear projection.
Yeah.
You're right.
I don't know why they did that.
It makes the graphics look less high
And they
definition.
did that on Final Frontier. It's like that's like the
Oh, that's very strange. You know, now that I'm looking at it, it looks like we're using like CRTs
They
everywhere.
were or LCD or early LCD. You know.
Oh, that's a
Too.
mistake.
They did that. Yeah.
Don't do that. Just leave it blank.
They replaced a bunch of screens to try to make it more dynamic.
We were talking about something, Brandon, and I wanted to finish a thought.
Well,
I was explaining something.
I don't remember what we were explaining, but he just said that B4 was physically identical to him, so that means he has an off switch in the center of his back, and that Data can turn off his head if he wants to, or his arm, or his positronic.
He's probably trying everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The whole temporal thing.
Yes.
There's obviously precedent for the Romulans doing like regular everyday stuff using convoluted time travel stuff.
Yes.
Because, or not convoluted, but
Force field last
because they
one
use-
shot and went down.
because they use a singularity to power their ships.
Yes.
That's true.
You know what? I remember this whole movie being this green. It's just this part, isn't it?
Okay, here's
The
another
Battle
question.
of the Green.
Oh, and also, gotta have this fight in Nebula.
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because we're remaking Wrath of Khan.
Tell me, would this not be a great time for him to get Guinan's ear on the ethical conundrum that he's facing right now? Like, he should be talking to Guinan.
This movie is not concerned with that
It's not
stuff. It
interested,
just pays
Brandon.
lip service to it.
It just wants to do action.
I know.
Action, action, action.
But they missed an opportunity, is what I'm saying.
That was cool.
Oh, just
Movie's
a
a
spread
missed
of
opportunity, buddy.
phasers. That was weird. Shoot anywhere in a
Just
narrow
wasted
band.
That's the Voyager rule of photon torpedoes. There. They never
We have a
end.
finite amount. Let's use them all.
Right, Shinzon.
36
He
photon
just
torpedoes.
he just missed all of that because he's an older man. Like
They should
it
be able
was-
to see where those are coming
his
from.
instincts were slow. That's why he missed.
This is it's like an undiscovered country when they can like, where do we aim?
Yeah.
Why don't you aim where the torpedo just came from around there?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Target that explosion and fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when they're targeting things, they can. When they shoot at the Borg cube that one time, they totally miss where the tractor beam's actually coming from, but it shuts off anyway.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I don't want to read too much into stuff, but LeVar Burton sounds like markedly irritated. Like, I don't know if that's just we're being attacked and I'm so sick of these being attacked things, or if it's actually LeVar Burton going, I just don't even want to be in this movie anymore
Yeah.
because I'm so tired of this director. He's just jerkface.
Laverne.
So again, Stuart Baird is a major editor.
Superman the movie.
He edited Superman the movie. He edited some of the early Bond movies. Huge major tentpole important stuff you've heard of, and he's just not a proven director. And was the weirdest choice for this movie. And there had been talk about having Frakes do it again, and then Berman or somebody was like, "Nah, we need new blood."
Did he edit Superman 2?
I'm not sure. That whole thing's a hard job too, because you got to use two different directors' footage. And...
Oh, quaint. Just the premier ship in the
Look at me.
quadrant.
What's wrong with your face?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, but how do you have such an advanced ship, Shinzon? Like, where did you
Where'd
get
you get
the
it?
scimitar?
Shit. Who made it?
And he's like, from building the scimitar at a secret base. And it's like, okay, so that doesn't explain anything to us at all. So yeah, secret base. All right.
Is he doing the telepath thing right now, or is this
No. This is a
hologram?
hologram.
Okay.
Because the scimitar has all this amazing technology.
It's the thing from Deep Space Nine that they used in one episode.
Yeah. He could have just done the telepathy thing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Really?
But the
wouldn't
way
he
he
had
flickers out and stuff, it's pretty obvious that it's a hologram.
If he was doing the telepathy, though, he'd have to show up as somebody Picard's looking at, though, right?
I don't know. We don't know how that whole thing works. They
I
do
guess
it
not.
that way, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that's how you have to. I don't know.
enough. So I always,
He just wanted to freak out Troy for some reason. I don't know.
I do always
what was
find
the
it
point of
interesting,
that?
though.
I don't know. And do you know about the elevator one?
The elevator.
There's
was.
a
cut
deleted scene where there's a cut scene where there's another messing with Troy's mind thing
Really?
where she goes into and it looks dumb, and I'm really glad that they cut it because she looks up and it's like the elevator's caving in on her or whatever. I can't remember, but anyway.
Picard just
They
killed this
swivel
guy.
the whole camera around her like a bunch of times. What's that, Brand?
Picard makes a big deal about how Shinzon could save himself. But if that were to be an idyllic situation and Shinzon saved himself and came back to Earth, he'd still have to suffer the consequence of his genocide of the Romulan Council and the other people that he killed. I mean, he's still going to be punished. He doesn't want that. There's no impetus for him to actually come home at that point.
And also, it's not home. He's
never been
there.
He's never been there. But your genetics don't matter for a thing like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. He has no home. There's no appealing to anything with this character, except to just say, look, you should be better than this.
We can make you better in prison.
I don't know. I would have just written his background differently. He can't
There's
be
another
raised on Remus and this be interesting. That's the whole thing. It's the fact that he is Picard's clone is not important. It doesn't make any
Right.
difference.
He could be
there's
anybody
not,
at this point.
Yeah, there's not this interesting existential crisis that they're playing it up as.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the same thing with both of the evil twins, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, we're trying to pretend like something's interesting about B4, but like, neither of these characters has the ability to improve.
Right.
So the only thing these characters that can improve or learning about themselves is, okay, I'm not a automaton, so that's good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, right.
all learning about themselves is what they know already, which is, okay, I'm self-aware and have the ability to improve. Like, B4 is barely self-aware, if he is at all, and Shinzon's a psychopath.
Yeah. The Romulan commander right there, she was a little bit too jovial, I feel like. She should have been a lot more serious in that scene.
I don't know why they redesigned the warbirds either. They look fine on Next Generation.
I thought it was a cool reveal, though.
This is all going by way faster than I remember it.
It's because the best times to watch these are with us.
No, I know, but I'm talking about this scene in particular.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
it took longer for the Romulans to show up.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That
The
scimitar!
The scimitar.
Scimitar.
God, DeForest Kelly, learn how to pronounce things in the script.
Scimitar.
It's a zealot!
It's a centaur. The centaur.
When he said flanking warbird, I really sound like it's an effing warbird. That's an effing warbird!
Did you stick his tongue out?
Yes,
He
he
had
did.
his tongue to the side. That was great.
Would somebody explain to me why this amazing
That guy's dead.
futuristic ship, the scimitar, has such a tiny view screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like,
You gotta squint at it.
I have no use for your dainty ship, Picard. What do you call it?
quaint.
Quaint, dainty, whatever.
This is a quaint, dainty ship. No, he should have said dainty.
Emergency stop.
Wait, Ron Perlman, you got lines in this movie?
What?
You know what? You know what Ron Perlman is in this? He's like a lesser version of Bob the Goon. He's not even as cool as Bob the Goon. He doesn't even get as much to do or say as Bob the Goon. And he's an actor you've heard of.
That's funny.
What is he doing in this movie?
I don't know.
And then he's going to be Hellboy in like 2 years.
Right.
But it's not like nobody had heard of Ron Perlman at this point.
Right.
Oh, he just aged before our very eyes. He got some extra veins.
Yeah, that's not aging though. That's just getting
the
all
poison
veiny.
killing him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I think
he gets
I don't
tighter
think he can
veins
get.
as you get older.
Well, no, I know, but he doesn't actually seem to age. It seems like it's just once he gets to a certain place, aging, he's just gonna get this horrible disease and die.
Yeah, true enough. His face falls off like he got Thaleron radiation.
Why is their ship pounded to crap and the Enterprise looks fine?
The Emperor's got hit with other parts of another ship.
I think it's
should be
because we're
partially-
afraid to
That was a weird
ever
cut.
do that.
It cut right in the middle of Captain Picard falling back in his chair.
Yeah, it was a weird cut. You guys, I remember in the theater enjoying a lot of this space battle stuff. It doesn't look great.
No.
They needed to do more model work at this point. They were not ready to do all this in CG. And if you go back and look at first and second season Enterprise, a lot of the bad CG in that is like on par with this. This is a crappy TV movie.
Right.
We all went to the theater and paid money to see this.
Right.
And
But
that's
real-
sad.
Not that many
because-
people did.
What's that?
So
More
not that
ex-
many people did. Judging by its box
True,
office.
it didn't deserve it. I don't know. It's just I want to argue with Berman when he says maybe Star Trek just wasn't relevant anymore,
How
and
is
say
she doing this?
I think I think into the early
you
2000s
bored to the
because he
ground,
blames it on.
Berman.
You know what he blames
it's
it
a
on?
Ouija board.
He blames
Yeah.
it on 9/11. He talks it like post 9/11. People don't want positive Star Trek anymore. You made the bleakest Star
Yeah.
Trek movie there was at this point, and it's bad,
Right.
and it doesn't resonate with anybody. And like I don't know, they ran it into the ground already.
Right.
This
It was
makes
already
zero sense.
yeah.
Why she's in his head now, and why is the light on her eyes like that?
I know it's so dumb because they're trying to be all TOS-y.
It's that episode the where she gets the child.
Well, yeah, it's that
The
too.
child.
But that whole
Is that what
Right.
it's called?
Yeah. Yes. But the way they're doing that lighting there on her face, that is
That's a
specifically a
TOS.
TOS shot.
That's a
That-
TOS shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes no sense that she's able to reverse this on him.
Yeah, it means
Because
that
she's
because
only
we didn't
mildly
even understand
telepathic.
why they were doing that in the first place earlier,
Yeah.
and so the only reason was to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Shinzon has him go in her head just so that she can be violated, pissed off, and then later use it back on him.
But also, they don't even set that up. It's just all of a sudden she's doing it, and we find out because the Viceroy suddenly is sensing her.
Well, you can explain that away with just if they wanted to, and just say he established a connection with her that was never totally broken or whatever nonsense you want to do. But the fact that we don't even know why he did it in the first place makes
Right.
that so much dumber.
Mm-hmm.
It's already dumb, but it's even
getting
dumber when it's
barraged.
like, okay, so you did this just to set up a way for them to like get closer to winning in this scene. It's the only reason it's there.
They've lost a lot of structural integrity, and they're still flying.
Apparently, it's okay. Yeah.
So they're able
Why
to
are
walk
so many of the
real well
graphics
on
in the
that
background
bridge.
red? Wait, when you're at red alert, do all the graphics just suddenly go red?
Yeah, that's how it was on Voyager.
Oh,
Yeah.
weird. Well, I know there's a lot of
And everything
like,
got
lights
dark
and
too.
things.
Yeah, everything.
No, I
gets
knew that,
dark,
but did you notice on the screen?
yeah,
like,
they get red.
Do
Like
they
the L
really?
cars got red.
Oh.
Like whenever they were behind Tupac.
Whoa!
That's what my stepdad always calls Tupac. He calls him Tupac.
Tupac and Harry. They're always
and
behind.
Jeff also calls Chicote Chipotle.
The L cars graphics got like red and white, or red and gray.
okay.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times where they did that to the who are they? The Predator race that takes over the ship.
Erosion.
The Erosion, yeah. When the L cars, they look at the L cars system and it's doing that thing. It changes colors too.
I want to make a Where's Waldo book that's Find the Viceroy.
Find the Viceroy on the Enterprise.
Because you just put him with a bunch of other Remans, you're like, I cannot tell which one is the
Yeah.
Oh, he's holding the staff! That
You
must
just put
be the
down a
Viceroy!
slide.
Whee!
Why
Or
is there
the
a
trash
slide?
compactor.
It's a garbage chute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's...
Or it's, do you remember
Red
that?
Letter Media also made that.
There's
joke.
more than
Do you
just
remember
that
that
scene
weird-
that reminds me of Star Wars in this movie.
Do you remember that weird Nickelodeon show from the '90s called Space
And
Case?
then the next movie is going to wish it was Star Wars
Mhm.
all the way through. What?
Do you remember that weird Nickelodeon show from the '90s called Space Cases, where they were
Yes.
on that ship that looked like the bird?
Yes!
They went around and they would go through those weird tunnels to get everywhere in
I
the
don't
ship.
remember that.
Yeah, they would like slide through everything. Yeah.
How do you go back up decks?
I don't know. You can only go down.
Okay, so I thought...
Turn the ship over.
Oh!
So we got to the Romulan commander and her ships way faster than I realized we were going to, but I thought we had already like lost the
It's just
view
an
screen
open
and
corridor.
rammed into the ship
Yes.
already, and we haven't done that yet.
This is about to happen.
Oh,
there
here it goes.
goes.
Here we go, right now.
Is this guy gonna die? The guy in the helm? Doesn't he get sucked out? Yeah.
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 Oh man.
Now,
The
now the way
Indiana.
the
should have
engines-
automatically kicked in
it
already.
should have, and it doesn't. It takes forever. Why does it take that long?
Yeah, why did it take that? Did you see
They
Deanna?
would be
She was
out
like,
of air.
Now, I didn't think the Enterprise E had the bridge in that spot, but I guess it does. But like when that happens, it makes you go, "Oh, that's dumb. You shouldn't have your bridge."
Like on top of the ship, like
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Yeah, there should be bulkheads in front of it. It
They
should be like in the
be
middle
on the
of the
battle
ship.
bridge, first of all.
yeah.
For battle?
We don't. Why do you say that?
I'm just saying, like, you have a battle bridge, you should be on a battle bridge.
We never, ever use it like that.
I know.
It's never been done.
I know.
Why would we
It's
suddenly do
stupid.
it now?
I'm just saying it should have been done all the time.
Yeah, but then they would have had to stop the show every episode and do the
Saucer
whole
set.
da 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 da. The
Yeah,
saucer set.
It's only called the battle bridge because once you're in that scenario, that's all it would be used for. But it's not like whenever you would go to battle, you would want to go into a much tinier bridge.
Well, with
Like-
the exception of the fact that it's designed so that you can remove the civilians from the battle station,
Yeah.
from the battle.
I don't think there's any kids on the Enterprise.
Yeah, but what's dumb about what was always dumb about that idea to me, Brandon, is if every time you're in a battle, you disconnect that part of the ship, and you have like 2 targets to be fired on.
And plus, the
You'd
Enterprise
think they probably your enemy is gonna shoot at the bigger one, and,
plus
that's where all the kids are gonna
be. Plus, the saucer has impulse only, so
they're not gonna be able to escape the battle. But there's no good reason not to have 2 engineering bays and 2 warp drives, considering every shuttle has a warp drive in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, no
well, and when they did the multi-vector assault mode with the
Prometheus? With the Prometheus?
Well, there's little teeny tiny warp nacelles that come out of the other parts of the...
I love multi-vector assault mode. I saw that again not too long ago. That episode is awesome.
I like it.
Just everything about that episode is great.
How come he hasn't said kill everything?
Oh, hey, by the way, this is a scene from Wrath of Khan. Now, it's a lot earlier in Wrath of Khan.
Okay, so Picard just cut him off, but he couldn't be seen. Shinzon shouldn't know that his comlink was just cut, but he stops talking because the comlink got cut. Shinzon should not have known that comlink got cut.
Did we cut back to Shinzon? How do you know he stopped talking?
Because we cut back to him and he stops mid-sentence,
Oh.
They show some of the close-up of the buttons there, and they have like gradient and 3D effects on them and stuff, and they look more dated than the old buttons from the TNG TV series.
That's hilarious. It's just crazy that you would have a bridge laid out like this that looks like it could be the Senate chamber of the Romulan Empire, but your view screen is like a 17-inch TV. Whoa! Maybe we shouldn't have built risers.
I feel like this.
Like the Remans Boys
I feel
Choir.
like the Enterprise is doing more damage to their ship than,
Oh, of course it is.
It doesn't make any sense why, but...
Yeah, it makes no sense. You don't want to ram your ship on purpose.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Enterprise is okay.
Right? It shouldn't be.
You couldn't think of any other way to deal with this. You know what? You've got that that portable site-to-site transporter. You know what you could do? You could do beam over bombs.
Yeah,
it's true.
Okay,
beam a photon torpedo
get a
on his bridge.
Device. You don't even get a trico-plot device, and then beam that over the ship, and then press a button and blow it up.
You don't even need that portable thing. You just go to your freaking transporter and transport it.
Well, are their shields not up? Or are their shields down, and that's why they can ram it?
That's why they could ram it, I'm sure.
Oh, well, if that's the case, yeah, just beam all kinds of explosive crap over.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie's dumb. You know why we sent Riker down here? So that he would have something to do.
I like in the Voyager conspiracy one of...
Why is this bridge so big? It doesn't, like, I get... It does, like, the mining vessel thing in 09 makes a little bit more sense. But, like, why is that? It doesn't look like a ship.
Oh, look, he said full reverse, and then thrusters on the front side of the ship start shooting back.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, Adam. What were you saying?
I was going to say, in the Voyager conspiracy, part of Seven's conspiracies, why has the Voyager had tri-cobalt devices?
Yeah, but they never
actually answered her question.
She goes,
why?
she goes, subspace weapons are illegal. I'm like, yeah, no kidding, 7 of 9.
Look at that, thrusters right there. For what reason?
Janeway and the pilot goes, yeah, I don't know. Just in case this ever happened.
Yeah. Just they need to back up when they run into
Janeway and Caretaker is like, okay, now we've only got 3 of these, or is it 2, or how many tri-cobalt devices they have?
Why do you have any of them?
We've got these. It's gonna take all of it because we had this on the ship just in case
there's another bridge falling, just like in Generations.
You know what else is really funny about Caretaker?
Yeah.
I watched that again recently, and there's that great bit where she's looking over at the array, and she can't decide what she wants to call it. She's like, it's like some kind of a let's go with array.
There goes the Emperor.
And why is that in slow motion? She's him dangling in slow motion.
It's a John Woo influence, I tell.
Okay, you need to stop comparing this to better material. Okay, just stop it.
He backed up, but he didn't stop. But now he's stopped.
Yeah. Well, he probably just said all stop on screen. No, he's still backing up.
My favorite line from Caretaker is, looks like there won't be any corn for
no corn for you!
He just goes straight to self-destruct.
I'm surprised that didn't make it to Star Trek.
Yeah, and I know. Okay, can we talk about that? I'm going to ask you that question specifically, Brandon.
Yeah.
Why does he do that?
I don't know.
It seems like it's just that thing that you're supposed to do when like all bets are off and it's kind of you're screwed and it's all over. He's
Well,
like,
why is Picard
there
allowed to
just
destroy
for
Federation flagships all the time?
there are situations in which it would make sense to do that. It's not about what he's allowed to do or not. But in that particular instance, it feels like it's there just for a joke. And I remember the audience when I first saw this laughing. You know, all 17 of them, where it was like.
Kill everything.
Self-destruct is offline. Oh, ha! Because we've never done that before. Because we always just go straight to blow up the ship. But every other time we use self-destruct, Brandon, I understand what the point of it is.
Right. It's the last gambit.
We don't want the Klingons to get their hands on the advanced technology, so we're gonna blow up the ship, right? Or
and kill half the crew.
Whatever.
Of the Klingon of the enemy ship.
Yeah, with Nagilum, right?
Shinzon
or whatever.
Didn't want his
or
ship,
Star
so
Trek
why?
3 when he killed off half the crew and stuff.
Yes, like whatever it's gonna be, right?
Yeah.
But in this, I don't understand what blowing up the ship gets you.
It doesn't. Not unless you're still locked with the other ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're backing up.
They're backing up.
I don't understand
There's
that.
your big one.
Here's the big one.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
And it's the same shot from before,
it does look
basically.
bad, and this is not going to look great.
Oh, this is rough. I saw this on a giant screen at one point. That's sad.
I don't think at the time I thought it looked that bad.
Me neither.
I'm like,
and maybe it just hasn't aged well. Maybe in 02 it's not as bad as it is in 2019.
See, the graphics on the screens look way better than the graphics in the movie.
This is okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
As long as stuff's pulled back
far out
and not moving, we're good.
Right.
Why is it so big?
Why
How did they
do
build that?
What's the point? Oh, yeah, that's how it deploys the weapon.
Wings.
I forgot.
No, Adam. Hold on. It's how they deployed the weapon.
Look, Jordy's got stuff in his hair.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, because he was
the
rolling
room
all
going
over.
crazy in the air.
Yeah, it's debris. No, I'm going to call that good attention to detail, Adam. Yeah, Jordy's got crap in his hair. That's good attention to detail.
No one on the Enterprise will survive. Well, shoot. Except maybe Data.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Data should survive, right?
Wouldn't it be really funny
Not about
if
me.
if the Thelon radiation just got rid of the entire nebula? Where it's like, there will be no nebula, Captain. Oh, God, we've got to have phaser rifles in a Star Trek movie after First Contact.
Yeah.
You know, faster than you have been. You know, try to put some distance that doesn't take 12 years.
Straight off the bridge.
Bye.
Look, he matrixed.
I don't mind that beaming effect. It's okay.
So now I can't beam him
cool.
back?
Yeah, it just fried.
Well, yeah.
So, okay, panel.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah, but that was the weird, that was the indicator.
No, it's so contrived. It's ridiculously contrived.
The engineering panel on the bridge would explode.
How many times do they talk about the transporter circuits being fused in Star Trek? It goes all the way back.
Or X's, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys, this is the first commentary I've done in a long time where I've been having as difficult a time as I have not swearing. So hard. It's all these things where I go, that is...
Just go beep, 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 beep.
Oh, this is the
stupid.
best part. Here you go.
I did a rewind like that once. Remind me to tell you about it.
Okay.
What's up?
Here's the best part when he jumps.
Oh, this is great! Yeah.
So they did this in one of the
Look,
other
we're setting
Star
up.
Treks too.
We're setting up Last Jedi.
But they did this in one of the J.J. Abrams Treks.
Oh yeah, did they do it in Star Trek Into Darkness?
Yeah, they go from one ship to the other in their suits.
Well, in suits, but this is just
know,
Data
but-
jumping.
Yeah, but it's still ship to ship jump.
Well,
See, the small one didn't look like that. It should look similar.
Yeah, but it opened the same way, right? Like
Yeah.
it had that ball. At the,
And being that close to it, he should be destroyed by now, right?
what the heck?
You know, when you go back,
There's a guide wire on the outside of the ship.
when you go back to this
Yeah.
period,
It's a flagpole.
and you're looking at how dull and uninspired and contradictory Enterprise is in a time travel show for no good reason, and does all the prequel obviousness, and then we end TNG
This.
in like the most contrived. And you know what I said earlier? This movie's not boring. You know, it kind of is boring actually. Yes, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, at this point, Star Trek deserved to die.
Yes.
It really did.
Yeah.
Or I should say the people
making it, it's time for them to go.
It was time for them to go. We needed new blood. We kept it in the same hands for 17 years because TNG and First Contact and later on Voyager were so popular.
Right.
And to be fair, they did have multiple wins. It's not like they had like the one series and nothing else worked. I mean, like, First Contact was DS9 was a critical success.
Right.
It never had the ratings it should have.
Right.
So
and part of it was just the nature of syndicated television.
Exactly. Because if that were made now, 10 years, 15 years later,
right,
it would have been what people wanted for Star Trek. They would have said the TNG model's outdated.
Right.
That's the
I can't blame
criticism
people.
that gets lobbed at Orville. What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, they're on a Remans ship, and I don't know whether it's supposed to be the universal translator or not, but the Thalaron intermix levels comes through in perfect English. And I just don't know if that's supposed to be...
That was not Patrick Stewart doing the stunt there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's just how universal translators work.
I guess. It's just more noticeable here.
Really? You're going to complain about that? Why? Why is it more noticeable here?
I don't know. I just Because
you thought of it. Okay. But I don't know how that's any different than anything else. Like...
Melee, hand-to-hand combat.
If Picard can understand what the Viceroy is saying, why wouldn't he understand what the computer is saying?
Well, I feel like the way they would have done that in some other instances is have it, be in the language. We're not privy to the universal translator in that way.
Doesn't look good.
No, it's awful. Why does it have a wedding ring on the end of it?
One ring to rule them all.
Uh-oh.
That blade looks kind of Klingon to me.
It does look Klingon. I don't know where he got it. I always assumed it was.
Well, now it's destroyed.
Oh. Well, I guess we have to stop talking about it.
This is like the fight, the thing that...
Oh, he's got another one!
See, this is like the fight...
It must not be Klingon. Because they all have that similar design. What do you say?
This is like the Xindi sphere weapon fight thing, too, a little bit, with that device thing.
Oh, that looked bad.
Yeah, but remember, that's 2 years after
I know.
this. And better.
I know.
Oh, come on. It is. It's way better.
It is true.
That wouldn't have gone... He would not have had enough force to push that through himself.
No, and he wouldn't be able to do this either.
Does he pull himself up on it?
Oh, no, he pulls himself
across it. Oh, my God.
He's going to go across it.
That's like
He's going to pull himself all the way to Picard. Watch him.
That's the most early 2000s thing.
You could possibly
know. He did in Lord of the Rings.
They'd be going right through his spine.
Yeah. Because it's like, look how dark and edgy we are.
He's like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I love that after this happens, Picard's just going to stand there, and it's the perfect reaction. Because you'd be like, yeah, no, you would be really freaked out by this. This is a very traumatic experience.
Okay.
After this whole thing, if I'm Picard, I'm retiring. I'm not a Star Trek.
That's why he's in Picard. That's why he's on his
I
vineyard
would love
Picard.
it. We know some things about that, but I would love it if it was this.
Was the reason.
Okay, look, I've been through a lot of crap, but when my clone got on a wooden beam and pulled himself,
a wooden beam on the
it looks wooden. I've always said that.
Yeah.
He looks like he's got to have splinters all through himself.
No, the only place there should be wood.
I know it's not wooden, but it doesn't look as wooden as I thought it did. But I always remember that as being kind of wooden.
They do look.
That is unintentionally funny. Yeah. When Data walks in and knocks him over, it is unintentionally funny.
He's like, bye.
Well, okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
All right.
That's how they got around the broken transporter.
Yeah.
I forgot.
There were a lot of people who lost sleep after Data dying in this, and I think for some people it was their favorite character, and even if it had happened in a good movie, they probably would have been really sad about it. But I think for a lot more people, it was that he dies at the end of this really crappy movie, you know?
Right.
I think it made people depressed because it's this really relentless, depressing movie for no good reason.
Right.
And it's contrived, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it keeps insulting your intelligence. And we felt like we had to do this big, giant thing, like, important thing at the end of it. While also ripping off a better film.
I'm going to say it. I felt like I enjoyed watching this less than I did Insurrection when we watched it together.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. This is absolutely and I know I've been talking, of course, this whole time. But and by the way, I want to apologize for as much yelling as I've done in this commentary. But like, and like most of the thoughts that I've had watching this today are thoughts I've had before, but I don't know why this has pissed me off in a way that it hasn't in a long time. I think I just haven't sat through it in a long time. This is the worst viewing I've ever had of this.
Earlier you said it was the best.
No, I didn't.
You said it was one of the scenes was better than you thought it was.
Oh, that was just one scene.
No, I know.
Okay, so there was this. What are we talking about? So there was a scene that I liked better than other times, but overall, it's the worst viewing I've ever had of this movie.
Pondering his sacrifice.
Well, the Romulans are still there, aren't they?
Apparently so. That's a good joke.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's better than the crappy seatbelt thing that we happily did not put in the movie.
Yeah.
So they had to watch the Enterprise ram the scimitar.
They're just sitting back eating popcorn watching that happen. Now, I like the status quo
vacuum cleaner there.
change we get to at the end of this movie, of course. I don't like how we get there, but obviously getting closer to the Romulans being allies with the Federation. I mean, I would love a TV show where we do the same thing with them that we did with the Klingons, where we have a treaty with them, and we have a relationship. They're not in the Federation, but they're allies, and we do stuff with them. It would be great.
And it would be interesting to see how the Romulans and the Klingons are now, how they would be related too.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they hate each other more.
And they could both be allies with us, but still not allies with each other. But then
that'd be awkward. We'd be the middleman.
But then we might not be willing to have a relationship with either of them if they're at war all the time.
Oh, Chateau Picard. There we go.
We were making such a big deal out of that with the Picard show.
Yeah.
Here's to the finest crew in Starfleet.
Wait, this is the same room as the Ready Room. Or the observation lounge. They just took all the tables out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, they only had enough money to build one new set besides sickbay.
No, it's similar, but it's not quite. I
think he's right. I think this is the same set.
Everybody's sad.
Yeah, it's unintentionally funny. Like, I don't know, it's not working. It's unfortunate.
Wait, he's wearing a wedding ring. Why is he wearing a wedding ring?
They're not married yet! They can't be! It didn't happen!
Unless they had they had two wedding ceremonies.
Brandon, I wasn't there! Don't tell me it happened! It did! I wasn't there!
Yep.
Oh, we get to watch that next. I can't wait! Even though it's bizarre that 09 actually seemed to have ripped off things from this, of all things, it's still a way better movie.
Okay, so you know how long it would have taken to get a ship back to Earth from out next to Romulus with no warp drive?
Let me ask you this. Do you know how long it is between that scene and this one? Because I don't.
Yeah, now they fixed it all up.
No kidding, yeah.
Like, that might not be relevant. It could have taken 3 months to go back. I don't know.
Utopia Planitia, right?
Well, that was Earth, so it wasn't Utopia Planitia.
Where's that then?
Mars.
That's Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
The whole Voyager episode where they're there and stuff.
Yeah, but we're told that in early TNG. Like, we know that's on Mars.
Right.
But yeah, so we're gonna set up the Titan, and like everything around this is so much more interesting and has so much more potential than this actual movie did, right?
Right.
You make a movie about the clone who's actually played by Patrick Stewart, which, by the way, they talked about. They almost did it that way. They almost had Patrick Stewart play Shinzon.
Oh, he's the captain now.
But it would have been a totally different thing. And then you got, the interesting ideas with the Romulans moving forward, and you've got Riker finally getting his own ship and doing the Titan, which they honestly should have just made a movie.
Right.
Brought in some old TNG alum as some of his new crew. And of course, that's what happens in the Titan book series. And what little I've read of that is pretty decent. Tuvok is on that ship.
Tupac. Look, he's got an LCD monitor on his desk there.
Look how futuristic that
I'm pretty
is.
sure it's plugged in too.
It's so futuristic. Hey, Brandon.
Yes, Ken.
X's.
Yeah.
They're
Excellent.
just everywhere.
all over.
Because it's number 10.
Hey, Brandon, why does the tall man have a furry face?
Good question.
No, it's not. It's not a good question. Okay, so now we're spelling out the theme of the movie that just was not all that compelling and interesting. Yeah, why are you talking to him? Well, okay, this scene I guess it makes a little bit more sense because he's probably hoping that something like, sunk in when Data's Contra got put in him. And then he's going to start singing the song from the beginning, which is supposed to make us go, oh, wait, Data's still in there someplace.
Right.
What is that mask? What is anything in Picard's ready room?
It's the Sutton Hoo mask from England that they found.
But it's insane how stripped down this whole movie is.
Get out of my room.
Okay, so great. We can kind of bring Data back if we want to, even though this movie
Last
made
movie.
$19, so
Yeah.
we're not going to get another movie. Although, weirdly, now we're going to get to see him play it again. So a lot of people, this will date this commentary, but a lot of people, of course, are assuming that that's all like a hologram or Picard hallucinating Data or something. And Brent Spiner has come right out and said, by the way, that the pieces of Data that we see in that trailer are before.
Yeah.
And
I
so
had
all
wondered about
roads
that.
are pointing toward we're not actually going to have Data in that show.
Alright.
That we'll get maybe a scene where Brent Spiner gets to play Data and talk to Picard, but it's probably on a holodeck. It's probably nothing.
Now that I think back to that trailer,
Yeah.
when they open the drawer, the color of the items in the drawer are the color of B4's what he's wearing in this movie.
Yeah,
aren't
that's
they?
the main reason I said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
great job, Stuart Baird. Go back to your day job, buddy, and watch some Star Trek. Next time, if
How
you
did they
get
pick
a
him to
job,
go with?
I don't
Brent
know.
Brent
Oh, yeah.
Spiner helped with this story.
Yeah, Brent Spiner had a lot to do with problems with this movie.
And what did Berman do?
Well, Berman always gets story credit. His name's at the top of all of these. I think he sat in the room. I think that's what he did.
He sat in a room.
Yeah, he listened to people pitch ideas, and then he shook his head or nodded it, and then he put his name on top. I think that's what happened.
That's what he did with all the stuff.
That's what he does with all his prey. He just likes the sound of it. So, Brandon,
Yes, Cap.
you ever gonna watch this again?
The only reason that I would probably watch this again is if I'm going through all the movies or if I watch it with you guys
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
If this went to the theater, would you go?
No.
Yeah? No, I guess I would have to. Speaking of which, isn't that next week?
It's Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah, I meant to mention it to you. You're still coming with us?
Yeah.
Because we're
I'm gonna
going.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are going to the theater to see motion picture. We're so
Yeah,
excited. And I think in one of these we said that would be crazy. They would never do that. It's happening,
Yeah.
and
It's
we're
happening.
going.
Yeah, we talked about that not too long
We
ago.
talked
and then-
It's
about
because
it.
it's an anniversary again. There's all these anniversaries this year.
We said
Yeah,
you
but-
said that it
I
would
never-
be more likely that they would do a re-release of Star Trek V. The Star
Yeah.
Trek motion picture.
And watch us never get that.
No, you say that now, and they're just going to do it. It's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek V.
No, you're right. Thanks for throwing that back in my face. You're
What
right.
do
I
you-
did say that. That was a dumb thing to say.
What do you think Rick Berman...
Good job, Tom Hardy. And no, I'm seriously. Good job, Tom Hardy.
So what do you
'cause-
think Rick Berman does like every day for the best 12 years? 13 years
Cave
or however,
Ballroom.
however long he got
spends his money.
however he
Like,
got booted out of the franchise.
he's not screwing up TV right now, so that's good. I'm hard on Berman. Obviously, he did some great stuff for Star Trek. I don't mean to
Right.
belittle him too much. He was trying really hard to be respectful to what Roddenberry wanted after he passed,
Right.
and a lot of mistakes happened because of that.
Right.
And so like I can respect him for even if some of that was misguided.
Right.
I can respect him for trying to stay true to the vision. It's just Roddenberry was to a place where he was drinking too much of the Kool-Aid of how like important the
he believed
the philosophy
all
was,
the crap that
and he
was
forgot
telling,
about the storytelling part.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He believed all the stuff he had told those undergrads during his little tours in the 70s.
But also, Berman wrote some good Star Trek scripts. We think of Berman as just the money guy, as just the yes man to the studio.
Yes.
He wrote Brothers. I mean, he's written good episodes.
The Berlin Off Rasmussen,
which is my favorite episode. Yeah, Rick Berman wrote my favorite episode of TNG. So we got to give him credit where it's due. Or he just put his name on it and sat in a room and somebody else wrote it. No, I don't think that happened. I don't think that happened. Yeah, so that means like we also think of Berman as a guy with no sense of humor. That episode's hilarious.
Right.
So here's an interesting bit of trivia. Patrick Stewart was paid nearly as much for this movie as he made in the entire run of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh,
I did not know
That's
that.
why you're so excited.
Yeah.
He gets paid and he gets to drive a
cool thing.
I think at this point they probably weren't contractually obligated to keep having to come back, so they had to negotiate contracts and stuff. But we maybe have Patrick Stewart to blame for why this movie doesn't look very good. If he made that much money doing it, he might have gotten like a quarter of
the budget.
Yeah. He was
That's
the Robert Kennedy
Paramount's
for
fault.
this.
They could have ponied up more money.
Well, they could have.
You can't
That's
blame
true.
Patrick Stewart for
I'm
taking
joking.
what is owed to him.
No, that's not what I meant. I'm just saying it might have been because they paid him so much.
Right.
I'm not saying actually we should blame Patrick Stewart. No. We can blame Patrick Stewart for the stupid off-roading stuff, though.
That's true. We can blame him for that.
We can blame him for that.
Definitely blame him for that.
Also says that
I don't understand digital sound editing by
I know.
Paramount Pictures. How did?
Yeah.
Why
Was there a human being involved?
This movie also apparently nearly ruined Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I heard about
Right.
this.
That's fascinating. He was very depressed after this movie, commercial failure, and he turned to alcohol and considered suicide.
Oh my God, Berman.
He wanted this to be his big break, but he didn't get over it until he appeared in Bronson in 2008.
Right.
Yeah, the soundtrack is good. I will give it that.
Yeah.
Of course, Goldsmith is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of his better scores.
Better than the Insurrection score.
Yeah. I mean, it's uninspired. It's just another score. Do you think Insurrection looks better than this movie?
In parts.
Like the look of it, I like it better because it looks more like Star Trek. This whole movie screams like early 2000 generic alien look to the to the Remans. It was way too, like you said, too green.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And
although again, less than I remembered. And also, why would you do that much green 2 movies after First Contact?
right.
Yeah, like I said, the stuff is green. The bad guys are green.
Look, bad guys are green, Brandon. Okay, that's the color of bad guys.
This movie looked cheap. That was the
But
other
Insurrection
ones-
also looked cheap. When we
It
talked
did.
about that.
Insurrection looked cheap, but I think this movie looked even more cheap in some ways because it was trying to be bigger than Insurrection.
Arguably, the only one that doesn't have any cheapness problems at all is First Contact.
First Contact, right?
Because Generations looks like a TV movie.
Right.
But not to the degree this does.
No.
I mean, yeah, it has some reused shots, but they at least look. But they were at least shots from films.
Right.
They look good in the first place. Man, it's just the kind of movie that makes you question for a second why you like Star Trek. You gotta go watch good Star Trek. Like, oh yeah, that's right.
But like you said earlier, I remember at the time really liking Tom Hardy and wanting to see more of him.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you have what I did too, where I had to keep reminding myself he was supposed to be a clone of Picard?
A little
Just
bit,
constantly,
yeah.
I kept going, oh yeah, that's right, he's supposed to be Picard, isn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, that was fun. You
Was
know, I was really excited about doing that, and thought for some reason it would be actually more fun to watch that than it was.
Talk about. We got a lot of material.
Yeah.
It was, but man, like I didn't know how to not just scream at it.
Yeah. Now I remember why I haven't watched it in a long time.
Well, apologize for really yelling, but I could not help myself. I got like these guys will tell you there were places where I got veiny like Shinzon did. Where I'm just like, oh my god, this movie, why? And I think I'm putting myself back in time and place, and I'm already seeing the beginning of the end.
Right.
This is 02. We're gonna lose Star Trek altogether by 05. Enterprise every season we were waiting to hear would get canceled.
Right.
And it was so exciting to get something 24th century again. And we hope we get more movies, and we hope that maybe we would get another TV show set after this.
Right.
Maybe finally get a 25th season, or 25th century. And then we get this movie. And the first time I saw it, I was kind of okay with it. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh no, what happened? And,
I think I even gave up on,
I was just angry.
on Enterprise near the end and stuff. But
Did you really?
It got better.
It did.
But
Did you
I
stop
shouldn't
watching?
have given up. I did kind of. I think I stopped watching.
Because I know you
it.
don't know that show as well as I do.
Well,
Yeah,
I
and I
haven't-
watched it later. Like on the. I either watched it when they showed the reruns, or I got it from the library. I can't remember, like the DVD set or something.
I
like
did
that.
give up on Enterprise. That's what I was about to say. Is like
You
stopped
never
watching
followed it, though.
Huh?
You never regularly followed
I
Enterprise.
started to.
Did you really?
Yeah. It came on, and I was like, oh my goodness, another Star Trek series, and then it just didn't. Halfway through the first season, I just was
I
like,
watched
no.
the first 2 seasons.
I think for a lot of people that happened by episode 4 or 5
and then
of first season.
That may be
I
what
watched
it
the
was.
first 2 seasons in full, and then when I started when the Zindi stuff started, that's
Which is funny because that was the thing that they were trying to use to pull people in.
I know.
And it worked a little bit.
And I didn't
mean,
like the first
ratings
2
were a little
seasons,
better.
but I was like,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm like,
It's also hard to say, and I really believe this, it's also hard to say how much of third season, when the ratings were marginally better, was because they went serialized and people got excited about that storyline, and how much of it was they just put Star Trek in the title finally. I
Right.
think there were a lot of people that just didn't even know what it was.
right.
Yeah, that could be
You know what
too.
the most
Yeah.
annoying thing in the early 2000s about Enterprise was? Trying to find merchandise for it. You'd
Yeah.
go on eBay and type in Enterprise.
Yeah,
There was
nothing.
no way to filter it where you could only get the TV show stuff. It was so
Nice.
That's the reason you don't name a thing that ambiguously.
Well, they didn't really have much merchandise for it to begin with either.
Not
did
much, but they had a
That's,
really good action figure line.
They did. And the only place you could find that was like Suncoast at the mall.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
right.
was like
Walmart didn't have
insanely
it.
expensive too.
Target didn't have it.
Yeah.
No, those were expensive figures.
Yeah.
But that was at the beginning of figures.
That
getting,
wasn't
getting more
Playmates
expensive.
doing
I
that
miss
either.
Suncoast.
That
Art
was-
Asylum.
Yeah.
Art Asylum, which I think became what did it? It's not NECA, is it? What did they become NECA or did they become something else? They still exist, but they're not called Art Asylum anymore, and they still do great work. Or they got bought out by somebody, I can't remember, but whatever they are now is one of the better action movie
Right,
companies.
right.
Anyway, well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming over.
Yeah.
We're done with the TNG movies.
Done with the
We
TNG
are
movies.
now
Now
with
to the Abrams
Now
verse.
to the Abrams verse, yeah. So that's saying something.
Yeah, but there will be some fun to be had there. And
the third movie.
no,
yes.
there will.
Third
Beyond
movie,
is
yeah.
great. Yeah, but I mean, there's some fun stuff in the first film.
There is.
It's going to be hard not to just scream at stuff I don't like, but
No,
there's,
it's
Yeah.
true.
there's
But
good
I
stuff
remember
there.
when we went to go see Star Trek 09.
I like Star Trek. I was
enjoyed it.
excited when I saw Star Trek 09. Only later I was like, oh wait, there's a lot of
I had the
bad
same
things
thing,
in
which
this.
is why I didn't want to go back and see Darkness, because I loved it and I knew it was probably not good.
You mean Beyond?
No, Darkness.
Oh, you like Darkness.
The first time I saw Darkness, no, Ray and I raved about it. And then the more we talked about it, the more we came up with nitpicks and stuff, but we still liked it. And it's not good. And that's why when we went and saw Beyond together, do you remember I told you, I said, walking out of the theater, I'm pretty sure that was good, but I don't trust myself because I like Darkness
Right.
also.
Right.
And then when we sat down and talked about it on camera, we just kept over and over again going, no, it's solid. It's not
Yeah.
like what happened with Darkness.
Right.
We kept trying to poke holes in it, and we couldn't.
Right.
It was
right.
good.
Right.
It's not perfect, but I mean,
I haven't watched
we
Dark.
could
I don't
not
think
have-
I've,
the
I haven't
third movie
watched
finally
Darkness
felt
since I
like-
saw it in the theater.
No, and I don't plan to rewatch it. Before we do that,
Yeah.
maybe I will. I'm not sure yet.
I'll go.
When we got the third movie and we'd had time to reflect on the first two, it felt like it finally was really kind of actually coming back to Star Trek for me. And that's
because it was.
Yeah, I know, but like, I give it lots of credit for that still. So I'm looking forward to that one and the first two, but that one more.
And now Brandon wants to see the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek.
No, I can do it. Honestly, I could take that or leave it. Honestly,
Based on what?
Quentin Tarantino. I'm not a huge fan.
I'm not a big Tarantino fan either, but but the notion of him making a movie is kind of interesting. Like, we don't know anything about that project yet.
It is kind of interesting, but at this point,
I also still don't know if that'll ever happen. I don't trust it.
I don't trust anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Picard's halfway filmed, so that'll happen. But I don't.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't trust.
Nothing on the movie side I trust right now. Until that merger happens, the re-merger.
No, it did.
Until it's finalized.
It's finalized, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
get everything
fancy. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well, yeah, exactly. You can't trust it. Well, we've dated this commentary so hard. But yeah, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the not too distant future for Star Trek 09, or as Red Letter Media like to call it, Star Trek the Star Trek. In the meantime, I was Captain Logan. This was Brandon Graham.
See you later.
And Adam Meredith.
See ya.
Later, folks. You waving? No one can see you.